Chapter 1720. Luo Tian said, "Yes, family leader. I want to help Du Dao this time. Although I failed, I also discovered a big secret. That is the identity of the leader of the Qingyun sect, Yi Liangqin. She is the student from the Alcade branch who's shown in the Jasper Forest Gathering, June Mayan." Tian Haiba did not participate in the Jasper Forest Gathering because he was busy with the Qingyun world. However, he heard his subordinates report about the Jasper Forest Gathering and the Three Schools Tournament, especially the female cultivator called June Mayan. She could be said to be on par with the leader of the Qingyun sect, Yi Liangqin. They were known as the Azure Blue Duo. There were even rumors that June Mayan was Yi Liangqin. However, it was just a guess. No one could prove it. Many people found it hard to believe. If June Mayan is really Yi Liangqin, then this woman is too monstrous. Tian Haiba suppressed his excitement and stared at his trusted subordinate. "Are you sure that June Mayan is Yi Liangqin?" "It's absolutely true." This subordinate heard it from her own mouth. Also, Luo Tian told him about how June Mayan drew the soul-locking talisman in the air during the battle with Du Dao. In this world, other than Yi Liangqin, who won the finals of the Golden Heavenly Light competition, who else has the ability to draw such a powerful talisman? The more Luo Tian spoke, the more excited he became. "Patriarch, let's not talk about this woman's devastatingly beautiful appearance and talisman drawing skills. Just the zither in her hands alone is something that even the Flowing Moon Sect's Hall Master wants to snatch. That must be an incredible treasure. It might even be a divine weapon. Family leader, think about it. If we can recruit June Mayan to our Tian clan and get her to draw talismans for us, then give her Guqin to the nobles. Do we have to worry that our Tian clan cannot prosper?" Tian Haiba got more excited as he listened. He could not control his emotions. Just like what Luo Tian said, if June Mayan was really Yi Liangqin, if they could recruit this woman, their Tian clan would be killing 3 birds with 1 stone. However, June Mayan is a student of the Starry School. To recruit her immediately, I'm afraid. Clan leader, you forgot that Du Dao is already dead. There are only a few nascent soul cultivators left in the Starry School. Luo Tian smiled slyly. I've already found out. Xing Danqing has just returned to the Fengtian Academy, and Ning Yaoguang, who had escaped from the seal, has also left the Starry School. Now, the Starry School is like a group of dragons without a leader. Tian Haiba takes a deep breath. All right, you take people to recruit Mayan. No. For such an important talent, it is better for this family head to go personally. If she listens obediently and joins the Tian clan, then it's fine. But if she's stubborn, then don't blame me for taking the Starry School under the Tian clan. Famed clan lord! Luo Tian sucked up to him loudly. What is the Qingyun realm? How can it be mentioned in the same breath as the Starry School, a 1,000-year-old school? If we can make the Starry School become a subsidiary of the Tian clan, then the Tian clan's unification of the Azure Blue world will be just around the corner. These days, Mayan had been living a very comfortable life, especially when she saw the cross-dressed Star Wolf shopping with her and attending public classes. Even though he was clearly furious, he did not dare to do anything. She was overjoyed. Not to mention, Star Wolf did not look ugly at all in cross-dressing. On the contrary, he looked very handsome. When a few of them were shopping, they even attracted the teasing and flirting with them. Chapter 1721. Mayan and the others almost choked with laughter at Star Wolf's embarrassment. Of course, that Debachi died miserably in the end. 10 days later, Star Wolf finally took off his female clothing. Mayan was extremely regretful. She wanted Xiao Bao to order Star Wolf to wear it for 2 more days. How could Star Wolf not know of her evil intentions? He turns around and disappears without a trace. Mayan hugs Xiao Bao and bursts into laughter. She occasionally eats the spirit fruits that Xiao Bao cut for her. Her days are really too good. Just then, a flying boat slowly descends from the sky. The new deacon of the Academic Council quickly steps forward and salutes Mayan. "Miss June, there is an honored guest waiting for you at the School of the Emperor's Star. Please go and meet him." Tian Haiba already had a preliminary impression of June Mayan from Luo Tian's description. But when he really saw her, he was so shocked that his eyeballs almost popped out. It's not just because June Mayan's appearance is too beautiful. She's 100 times more beautiful than all the mediocre beauties that the Tian family has gathered. It's also because the girl in front of him looks too young. For the cultivators of the Xiojin continent, 25 years old is just the beginning of adulthood. Generally, as long as one's cultivation is a bit higher, people in their 50s or 60s will look like they are in their early 30s. But June Mayan, anyone with a bit of eyesight can see it. Her bones are at most 20 years old. Even in the Tri Academy, which only accepts young cultivators, this age is still very young. And it's this young girl who achieved something that no one in the Tri Academy has achieved for hundreds and thousands of years, reaching the top of the Proclamation of Azure Clouds. No, not only did she reach the top of the Proclamation of Azure Clouds, she's also the strongest auxiliary cultivator in the history of Azure Blue World. She's the Talisman Master who won the finals of the Golden Heavenly Light competition. Because the cultivation of talismans is very difficult and the results are very little, it can be said that in the entire Xiojin continent, there aren't many good talisman masters. June Mayan can even be said to be the #1 talisman master in the Xiojin continent. Tian Haiba's eyes shine as he looks at the beautiful girl in front of him, his heart in turmoil. If she's such a peerless beauty, even if he makes her the mistress of the Tian family, he won't lose face when he brings her out later. Thinking of this, Tian Haiba revealed a confident smile on his face. However, without waiting for him to speak, a middle-aged man sitting next to Tian Haiba immediately stands up. With a face full of solicitude, he says, "Student Mayan, this is the Tian family's master, Senior Tian Haiba. He specially came over to find you today. Quickly come over and pay respects to Patriarch Tian." Mu Yin raises her eyebrows. She recognized the middle-aged man who was speaking. In the Starry School, other than Diyu Dao, there were 3 other deputy deans. Su Iluan was one of them. There was also an old man with the highest cultivation level. He had entered seclusion a few years ago in an attempt to break through to the late nascent soul stage, but he had yet to emerge. The only one left was the middle-aged man in front of him. His name was Jiang Taihong, and he was one of the few remaining nascent soul cultivators in the Starry School. Now that Diyu Dao had fallen from grace, Jiang Taihong, as the vice dean, should have been the one to take the dean's seat. However, he was too close to Diyu Dao. Although he wasn't in cahoots with Diyu Dao, he had done a lot of bootlicking on a daily basis. As a result, in the election of the temporary dean this time, the deans and teachers of the various schools would rather Meng Baichuan than Jiang Taihong. Chapter 1722. Of course, Jiang Taihong was not convinced. However, Meng Baichuan was the dean of Tianshu Institute and led a group of unruly genius students. There was no need to doubt his own ability. Moreover, in terms of cultivation, Meng Baichuan was not inferior to Jiang Taihong at all. The students of Tianshu Institute even used their family's influence to support their teacher Meng's ascension to the position of Starry School's chief dean. It was said that when Meng Baichuan was confirmed as the acting dean, Jiang Taihong flew into a rage and smashed almost everything in Meng Baichuan's bedroom. Recently, whenever Jiang Taihong saw the students of Tianshu Institute and Yaoguang Institute, he would not recognize them at all. Mu Yin did not feel flattered when he was suddenly so polite to her today. Instead, she had goosebumps all over her body. Student June Mayan, Master Tian has come here today to bring you and the students of the All-K branch with great news. Mu Yin had just sat down when Jiang Taihong spoke impatiently. "Great news?" Mu Yin asked. "Yes." Jiang Taihong's face was glowing. Chief Tian wants to recruit everyone in the Xiao Yao team to join the Tian clan. Also, you don't have to wait for your graduation. You can go to the Tian clan now and become our trusted aides. Mu Yin raised her eyebrows and said slowly, "We are doing well in Starry School. Why do we have to go to the Tian clan? Or does Vice College Chief Jiang want to kick us out like College Chief Zhai did?" Jiang Taihong's face froze, and he said angrily, "How can you say that? I am fighting for a better future for the students of Yaoguang Institute. How can that be the same as what Diyu Dao is doing?" Mu Yin sneered. "You still have to ask if we are willing." Jiang Taihong was furious. A mere student who had not even grown her hair was already climbing over his head. Indeed, those who hung out with Meng Baichuan and Ning Yaoguang were not good people. He was about to slam the table in anger, but was stopped by Tian Haiba. Tian Haiba's face was full of arrogance. He said slowly, "Miss June, why don't you listen to the generous treatment that the Tian clan can give you after you go to the Tian clan? First of all, each of you will be paid 10,000 high-grade crystals per year. As long as you report to me, you can choose whatever you want from the Tian family's treasury. Secondly, my Tian family has thousands of private soldiers. Every one of them was an expert above the level of fasting. All the Golden Core experts who seek refuge with my Tian family will be given at least 50 Tian family private soldiers as subordinates. Miss June, although you are not at the Gold Core stage, I am very optimistic about your talent and future, so I made an exception to let you each lead a team of 50 private soldiers. Lastly, our Tian clan will take over your talisman shop in Tingguang Ruins. Under the management of our Tian family, I'm sure that store will prosper day by day." Originally, the businesses that belonged to my Tian family would not receive any profits. However, on account of Miss June's face, this patriarch will make an exception once again and allow you to take 10% of the profits from that shop every year. Before Tian Haiba could finish his confident words, Muyin finally couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. "This patriarch Tian, let me say, have you ever asked around how much profit the old man is making?" Chapter 17:23. Tian Haiba was a man of his word, and no one could defy him. At this time, he was suddenly interrupted by Mu Yin in such a mocking and disdainful tone. He immediately frowned, but in the end, he still maintained his demeanor and sneered, "It's just a small talisman shop. How much income can it have? 10,000 crystals a year? Hey, it's indeed not bad, but if my Tian family takes it over, we can definitely double the income." Tian Haiba also went to take a look at the shop. The location of the shop was remote, and the shop was very small. When he went there weren't many customers inside. Although he was the #1 talisman master in the Xiojin continent, talismans were still talismans. How could they be compared with elixirs and magic treasures? So Tian Haiba felt that the shop's annual income of tens of thousands of crystals was already the limit. But he also thought that if the Tian family took over the shop, he would go outside to buy more defective products and sell the talismans that were pretending to be Yili ancients. At that time, his annual net income would definitely increase by a lot. Who knew that when he said this, Mu Yin directly rolled her eyes. Even the few students standing behind Jiang Taihong showed an expression of holding back their laughter. The respect and fear in their eyes when they looked at Tian Haiba had now been mixed with a trace of disdain. Jiang Taihong said angrily, "What kind of attitude is this? Master Tian asked you a question? Didn't you hear? Isn't the annual income of 10,000 high-grade crystals for a mere talisman shop?" Vice Principal Jiang, actually, you can go to Tingguang Ruins and inquire about it. The income of the old man is #1 in the world store, is more than 10,000 crystals a month. The student standing at the back kindly reminded him, Tingguang Ruins has a hidden list of shops' popularity and profits. You can check it by spending crystals. On that list, the old man is #1 in the world shop has never fallen from the top 10. The student said and glanced at Mu Yin. There was one more sentence that he didn't say. This kind of sales result was produced under the situation that the supply of the shop was far from meeting the demand. The shop's daily supply of talismans was limited, especially those mutated talismans. There were only a few of them every day. The most sought-after barrier-breaking talisman had been booked for a year. One could well imagine how terrifying the sales volume would be if the sale of talismans was completely open to the public. Mu Yin listened to the student's narration and couldn't help but ridicule Qi Huang in the space. "Qi Xiao Huang, did you hear that? How much money did my world's #1 shop earn? Other than the salary that was given to North Sunflower, Xiangnuan, and the rest, as well as the portion that was left for Master, almost all of it has been squandered by you. You wastrel. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have given you the flowing light seal." Mu Yin originally wanted to share the income of the shop with everyone in the Xiaoyao school. Unfortunately, Yun Ruhan and the others felt that they hadn't put in any effort and refused to accept it no matter what. Therefore, Mayan could only give her master, Shi Qing, a bigger portion. As for Luo Yunxiao, when Mayan proposed to give him a cut of the shop, Luo Yunxiao waved her hand, and a small hill of obsidian crystals appeared. Obsidian crystal. That was a piece of obsidian crystal that was worth tens of thousands of high-grade crystal stones. Chapter 1724. How could other people be willing to spend it? They would treat it as a rare refining material and mix it into their magic weapons. But her family's little martial uncle is good. He directly treats it like a pile of gravel and takes it as a small hill. Mu Yin immediately retreats in shame, and from then on, she never dared to mention the matter of giving him crystal stones in front of little martial uncle. It's better if she goes to hug little martial uncle's thigh and let him give her some crystal stones through his fingers. Of course, thinking about it is just thinking about it. Mu Yin absolutely doesn't dare. Otherwise, if Di Mingju, that stingy big vinegar jar, knew that she asked little martial uncle for crystal stones but not him, Di Mingju would definitely steam, fry, boil, and fry her, all 18 kinds of torture. As for Qi Huang, he was completely driven mad after his Shirshu took out a pile of obsidian crystal. He could allow himself to be compared by any stupid person, but he would never allow that person to be little martial uncle. Mu Yin really suspects more than once. Is Qi Huang really not in a love-hate relationship with little martial uncle? This kind of thing, it's almost like, I only have eyes for you, love you, hate you, bite you to death. Since that day, she doesn't know what Qi Huang and Little Phoenix are up to in Tianguang ruins, but they're acting mysterious every day and spending more and more crystal stones. Qi Huang sneers, "Isn't this because you're too useless? I asked you to draw 2 more talismans every day to learn how to draw high-level talismans, but you refused. Otherwise, how could you only have this little income? Those tens of thousands of crystal stones. It's not even enough to fill the gaps between Ben Zun's teeth. Jun Mu Yin, I'm warning you, you'd better hurry up and earn more crystal stones for Ben Zun. Otherwise, I'll secretly leave a note to Di Mingju, saying that you're raising a lot of pretty boys outside. And the biggest one is that bastard Luo Yunxiao." At that time, that narrow-minded Di Mingju will definitely strangle Luo Yunxiao to death. Mu Yin? Damn it. She doesn't know if it's too late to strangle this dead tool spirit now. Tian Haiba and Jiang Taihong don't know about the interaction between Mu Yin and Qi Huang. And they also don't know that Mu Yan's shop is raking in gold every day. But now, those crystal stones are completely out of her hands. Often, as soon as they reach the Jade Key, that little bastard Qi Huang will plunder them clean. After listening to this student, they are completely shocked. An income of more than 10,000 crystals a month? The top 10 shops in Tianguang ruins. What did that mean? The top 10 shops in Tianguang ruins were either those that had been in business for 1,000 years, such as the immortal assembling restaurant that held the Spirit Chef tournament, or those shops that were opened by the great sects and families of the Purple Cloud domain. When did a small shop that sold talismans have such a heaven-defying profit? Tian Haiba's eyes suddenly lit up. The anger and humiliation from being ridiculed had all turned into greed at this moment. If the Tian family could obtain this kind of shop and this kind of Jun Mayan, then the Tian family would certainly be like a tiger that had grown wings. Perhaps in less than a year, they would be able to leap to become the #1 family in Azure Blue World. Tian Haiba's sinister eyes immediately narrowed into a smile. I didn't investigate carefully and underestimated Miss June. However, what I said just now was not all of the sincerity of my Tian family. He slowly straightens up and leans towards Mu Yin, revealing an expression of adoration and deep affection. In fact, the reason I came to look for Miss June alone this time is to ask to marry Miss June as my official wife. What does Miss June think about it? Chapter 1725. As soon as these words came out, the whole room fell into a deathly silence. Mayan, who was quarreling with Qi Huang in her sea of consciousness, was startled back to her senses by these words. She almost wanted to dig her ears to see if she had misheard. And Qi Huang was already stamping with rage in the space. Damn old bastard. Keep dreaming. A dead toad still wants to eat swan meat. Watch as this Zune peels off his skin, pulls out his tendons, and breaks him into pieces to feed the dogs. Zhang Taihong looks at Mayan with shock and jealousy, but he still couldn't help but say, Master Tian, have you really thought it through? Although classmate Mayan's talent is outstanding, she doesn't have any family background. In the past, when the heads of the big families got married, it was basically a marriage alliance. The matriarchs of the family also had an extraordinary background. What's more, Zhang Taihong's voice is somewhat difficult to speak. I'm afraid you still don't know classmate Mayan. She got pregnant before marriage, and now has a 5-year-old child. I'm afraid she's not worthy of you, Master Tian. Hearing Zhang Taihong's words, Tian Haiba's face really darkens a bit. He's played with countless women, whether it's by force or coercion. Which one of them wasn't clean and pure? This Mayan looks like a young onion, but he didn't expect her to be so flowery and shameless. She hasn't even gotten married, but she's already no longer a virgin and has a child. According to his traditional and strong thinking, such a dirty woman, even if she's a peerless beauty, he can only play with her at most. Letting her sit in the position of Tian family's matriarch is simply a great humiliation to him, Tian Haiba. But when he thinks of the huge benefits that marrying Mayan would bring, Tian Haiba presses down the displeasure welling up in his heart. Isn't it just a woman? When he's tired of playing with her, he'll squeeze out all her value and directly give her away as a plaything to devour. The position of Tian family's matriarch can be changed at any time. A gentle smile once again hangs on Tian Haiba's face. What I admire is Miss June. I can ignore her past. However, after Miss June marries me, it's best that you don't show your face outside like you do now. Just stay at home and draw talismans and manage the household chores. As for that son of yours, it's best to sever all ties with him. After all, it won't be a good thing if word of this spreads out. My Tian family has always been strict and strict. I, Tian Haiba, am a reputable person in the entire Azure Blue world. As my wife, I naturally need to have a dignified and virtuous temperament. I believe Ms. June understands this, right? Mu Yin originally wanted to speak, but after listening to the end, she leisurely drank her tea, stood up, and walked out. Tian Haiba and Zhang Taihong were dumbfounded by her actions. It wasn't until she reached the door that Zhang Taihong angrily said, June Mayan, what are you doing? Master Tian is talking to you. It's fine if you don't answer, but how can you just casually leave? Don't you have any manners? Mu Yin unhurriedly comes back to her senses. Leaning against the door frame, she sneers. My manners and upbringing are prepared for those who are similarly educated. As for those shameless toads who don't have the least bit of self-awareness and still like to boast, I'm sorry. Forgive me for not having much upbringing, but I won't casually waste it. Tian Haiba's complexion suddenly changes. Gritting his teeth, he says, June mine, what do you mean by that? Chapter 1726. I don't understand what you're saying. My junior sister is saying that you're a toad that wants to eat swan meat. Lung Yuma's voice suddenly came from outside. The people from the Xiaorao school quickly walked to Mayan's side. Lung Yuma looked Tian Haiba up and down, the disdain in her eyes almost overflowing. TSK, a toad? I think he's a toad. Luo Yu laughed. I think there's something wrong with this person's brain. Otherwise, why doesn't he take a piss and look at himself? Where did he get the face to say that he wants to marry 6th senior sister? If Tutor Mo heard this, Luo, you could guarantee that this person would have been torn apart by 5 horses. Tian Haiba had never been humiliated like this before. He was stunned by the scolding. Zhang Taihong slammed his palm on the table and cursed impudent. What kind of attitude is this? Tian Haiba, the clan leader, is an important guest of the Starry School. Who allowed you to speak to him like this? Why don't you kneel and apologize? Apologize? Sorry, Jiang. Vice College Chief, where did we go wrong? Lung Yuma said unhurriedly. An old man in his 70s or 80s wants to marry our junior sister. Are we wrong to call him a toad? Oh, that's right. I did insult the toad by saying that. I'm willing to apologize to the toad. Lung Yuma patted her mouth. I should say that he's worse than a maggot in a manure tank. After all, maggots know how smelly they are. They won't just crawl out to disgust people. Mine almost couldn't hold back her laughter. Her four senior sisters' battle power was getting stronger and stronger, both verbally and in actual combat. In the past, when she met such a shameless person, she had to argue with him. Now that she had fourth senior sister and Xiao Qi, she had no room to speak. Before she could say anything, the other party was already fuming with anger. Just look at Tian Haiba. The man who was smiling arrogantly and hypocritically a while ago now had a completely twisted face. A strong murderous intent burst out from his eyes. Alcade branch, good, good. As soon as the last word good came out, Mayan's eyes suddenly narrowed. The next moment, the Tian Mo Chin appeared in her hands. The sound of the Guqin rang out. In the blink of an eye, a sound wall appeared in front of them. At the same time, the sound of the zither turned into blades, and hundreds of sword chi shot out. Bang! 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 Countless sparks exploded in the small room. The surrounding desks and furnishings were affected and shattered. Dust filled the air. The students behind Jiang Taihong were so frightened that they retreated to a corner. The dust slowly dissipated, revealing Tian Haiba's incredulous and shocked face. He was a nascent soul cultivator. Although he was only at the first level, in the Azure Blue realm, other than the Nalan clan's patriarch, Nalan Qing, who was at the third level, the other nascent soul cultivators were at most at the second level. It could be said that Tian Haiba could do whatever he wanted in the entire Azure Blue realm. However, just then he used 50% of his power in order to teach these audacious people from the Alcade branch a lesson. But his attack was easily resolved by Jun Mayan's zither notes. How is this possible? Could it be that Jun Mayan's strength was already comparable to the peak of core formation? A little girl at the stage of fasting, but she had strength comparable to the peak of core formation. How many people would go crazy if such news were to spread? Chapter 1727. How did she do it? Was it because of the barrier-breaking talisman? Yes, it must be because of the barrier-breaking talisman. If the barrier-breaking talisman did not have such a terrifying effect, how could a mere talisman shop have such a huge income? Devouring stared at Mu Yin. In his heart, he was even more determined to get this woman. He took a deep breath and said coldly, Jun Mu Yin, do you really want to do this the hard way? Mu Yin put away the Tian Mo Chin slowly and chuckled. Then why don't you take out the punishment wine first, and let me see if it's enough for me to eat? Don't be too arrogant, Tian Haiba said, gritting his teeth. Do you know how many clans have resisted the Tian clan all these years, and how they ended up? There are many golden essence cultivators in those clans, and some even have backers. But in the end, without exception, they all became stepping stones for the Tian clan. Do you think you could be arrogant just because you are talented and strong? Don't forget that there are only 7 people in the Alcade branch. If the Tian clan wants to kill you, it will be easier than killing a few ants. It's good for young people to be arrogant, but excessive arrogance is overestimating one's capabilities. He glanced at the people of the Xiaoyao school with disdain. I advise you to quit while you're ahead. If you pledge allegiance to the Tian clan now, I promise to give you all the benefits. But if you really anger me, then those clans that were destroyed will be your example. Seeing that Tian Haiba's tone had softened, Jiang Taihong immediately stood up to smooth things over. Tian clan leader is really magnanimous. These kids don't know what's good for them, but you are still willing to give them a chance. Saying this, he glared at Mu Yin and the others. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and apologize to the Tian clan leader. Clearly no, I think you should leave with the Tian clan leader today. I will take care of the procedures for you. Mu Yin sneered. Vice College leader Jiang, since you want to go to the Tian clan so much, why don't you go yourself? The Alcade branch will not fight with you. That's right, Luo Yu said with a smile. I saw how attentive Vice College Chief Jiang was to the Tian clan leader. I thought that you were not the college chief of our starry school, but a lackey of the Tian clan. TSK, 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 No wonder Vice Dean Jiang was so magnanimous and gave the position of dean to Instructor Meng. Jiang Taihong was so angry that he almost fainted when he heard this. What did he mean by giving it to Instructor Meng? It was clearly that bastard Meng Baichuan who forcefully snatched the position of dean from his hands. If it wasn't for the sake of snatching back the position of dean from Meng Baichuan, would he have needed to curry favor with Tian Haiba? At this moment, Tian Haiba's stamina was completely exhausted. But this time he didn't make a move. Instead, he stared coldly at the high-spirited youths in front of him, thinking about how these youths would soon turn into dried leaves in his hands and be ravaged by him. Tian Haiba's face revealed a sinister smile. Seems like you guys have made up your mind to go against my Tian clan. Good. Then don't blame me, Tian Haiba, for being rude. During this period of time, Meng Baichuan, who had just become the college chief, was extremely busy every day. It was really because Diyu Dao had left behind too many messes. Furthermore, the Starry School was in dire need of instructors and college chiefs. It made him want to split himself into two. Chapter 1728. However, right at this moment, the deans and a few instructors of the various branches rushed in hurriedly. College Chief Meng, something happened. Meng Baichuan's eyebrows twitched. He was already so busy that he couldn't leave, and something still happened? What happened this time? Hearing Meng Baichuan's question, the tutors who had come with him started talking before the college chiefs could say anything. The college ran out of spirit herbs to refine pills. I went to the nearest Tianluo City and Songyun City to buy them, but all the shops seemed to have an agreement. None of them sold us the spirit herbs. It's the same here. The public classes these days are about teaching students how to forge weapons, but I don't even have the most basic materials. Also, the shop owner refused to sell us the batch of alchemy furnaces that we ordered. Students need large amounts of basic spirit replenishing pills and chi replenishing pills every day. Although they're the lowest level pills, they are indispensable and the daily demand is huge. We used to order these pills in bulk from a 1,000-year-old shop in Tianluo City. But now, the shop is not willing to sell to us. If I don't have these pills, how can I cultivate? Hearing their chatter, Meng Baichuan's head hurt at first. But as he listened, he was shocked and angry. Why are these shops not willing to sell to us? We don't know either. We asked the shopkeepers and shop owners, but they all stuttered and looked terrified. If we asked more, they would turn around and leave. We can't rob them, right? It's not just buying things. The natural treasures obtained by our Starry School students were originally sold to a big shop in Tianluo City, but now, even the shop is not willing to accept them. We can't put all the entry and exit points in Tingguang ruins, right? How can we do that? Not to mention that our level is not high enough, the storage space of the Jade Key is not that big. Just the processing fees from Tingguang ruins will cost us a lot of money. What's going on? Starry School has been established for thousands of years and has always been on good terms with the shops in the surrounding towns. This has never happened before. Meng Baichuan was also puzzled, but as the dean, he couldn't allow himself to be careless, so he immediately said, "Don't panic. Wait for me to go to Heaven Luo City to find out more information. You don't have to go ask around." Jiang Taihong's voice suddenly came from the door. "Let me tell you why." Everyone in the hall turned to look at the door. Meng Baichuan frowned and said, "Vice President Jiang, do you know something?" Jiang Taihong gnashed his teeth in anger when he heard the words Vice Dean. However, when he thought about how Meng Baichuan would definitely lose his position as dean after this matter, he revealed a carefree smile. "It's all your junior martial sister, Ning Yaoguang's good student, who offended the Tian family. Now, the leader of the Tian clan is enraged and has committed suicide against the Starry School. You should all be very clear on how large the Tian family's influence is in the Azure Blue world, and how famous and ambitious Tian Haiba is. Even the patriarchs of the 5 great clans would be very polite to him. However, Ning Yaoguang's students actually dared to openly insult the Tian family's patriarch. Wasn't this infuriating him? He devoured the Starry School. Meng Baichuan was stunned. You mean the students of the Alcade branch? Chapter 1729. The other vice deans and instructors looked at each other with puzzled expressions. What's going on? The Starry School students and the Tian clan should have nothing to do with each other. Why would Junmayan and the others offend the Tian clan? Zhang Taihong looked at the ugly expression on Meng Baichuan's face, his eyes filled with glee. He exaggerated the story of how Tian Haiba tried to recruit students from the Yaoguang branch, but was humiliated and left by them. In the end, he said righteously, "In my opinion, there is only one way to protect the Starry School. It was to expel Junmayan and the rest from the Starry School. As long as these people have nothing to do with the Starry School, clan leader Tian's anger will not affect us." When Zhang Taihong said this, he thought that everyone would agree with him. However, as soon as he finished speaking, he realized that the room was completely silent. Many of the branch deans and instructors looked at him with complicated expressions. Meng Baichuan couldn't help but scoff. Vice Principal Jiang Shure is a good teacher. Without Yaoguang's consent, she didn't even inform me, the principal. Swallowing the Tian family and taking away our academy's students? What do you take us Starry School students for? Jiang Taihong was furious. I'm doing this for their own good. Bah! The principal of the Migres branch had a fiery temper. He scolded Jiang Taihong mercilessly. Jiang Taihong, why don't you take a look at whether they want you to help them or not? Furthermore, have you forgotten that the Alcade branch is going to represent the Starry School to participate in the Deer Cry banquet? You gave him to the Tian clan just like that, and you even said that it was for their own good for the sake of the Starry School. How shameless can you be? Jiang Taihong's face turned green and white, wanting to refute. However, most of the branch deans and instructors pointed at his nose and scolded him for inviting a wolf into the house. This made Jiang Taihong so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Of course, there were also some teachers and branch deans who were afraid of death who agreed with Jiang Taihong. No matter what, the people from the Alcade branch had already offended the Tian family. As for the Tian clan, the Starry School could not afford to offend such a powerful force. The best way was to push Junmayan and the others out and draw a clear line between them. Only then could the Starry School be saved. I will never agree. You don't have to say anything else. As the college chief of the Starry School, I have the responsibility to protect all the students. As long as Junmayan and the rest are still in Starry School, I will definitely protect them. Zhang Taihong looked at Meng Baichuan and the people surrounding him. A venomous glint flashed in his eyes. Speaking so gloriously, I want to see how many days you can persevere under the suppression of the Tian clan. Mayan is flipping through her perfect golden core in the space. This book was taken out from the book tower by Qi Huang when he turned into a little doll carved from jade. Mu Yin cultivated according to the cultivation method recorded in the ancient book, and sure enough, her progress was very fast. Now, she could clearly feel that the peak of her, but had truly reached perfection. He was only one step away from the perfect core formation. Her present strength had surpassed all Jindan Xiuzhe long ago. Even if it was a first-stage nascent soul cultivator, she would be able to barely put up a fight if she went all out. However, even though it's only one step, even though there's only a thin layer of muslin separating her from core formation, Mayan still hasn't touched that crucial point. Chapter 1730. Qi Huang, what's the problem? She couldn't help but look up and ask, why is it that after so long, my fellow disciples and I still can't reach core formation? In fact, the bottleneck of core formation was not only stuck for Mu Yin, but also for the rest of the Xiao Yao sect. Especially Yun Ruhan and Qin Jiao. The two of them had been stuck at peak Anidia for longer than her. Their strength had long surpassed that of ordinary Jindan cultivators. But they still couldn't touch the threshold of core formation. Qi Huang was showing off his new clothes to Little Phoenix and Bai Xie. This guy was stealing a lot of Mu Yan's crystals every day. He could buy clothes in Tingguang ruins if he wanted to, but he had to pester Mu Yan to give them to him. After that, he went to Xiao Bao, the Fat Rabbit, Little Phoenix, and Bai Xie to show off. In the end, after she was done showing off Little Phoenix, Fat Rabbit, and Bai Xie could not take it anymore. Even Xiao Bao was hugging her leg pitifully. Although he did not say anything, But his expression of mother buys gifts for others but not for Xiaobao, does mother not love Xiaobao anymore, was very clear. Muyan had a big headache. She could only take turns to buy all kinds of strange things for this group of little ancestors in Tianguang ruins. She clearly had a shop that sold crystals, but she was so poor that she was even more pitiful than a cabbage. Qi Huang sneered. What's so strange about that? Since it's a perfect advancement, of course it will be thousands of times more difficult than an ordinary advancement. If you want to reach core formation without an epiphany, don't even dream about it. As for your fellow disciples, although they didn't have a perfect advancement, but after being trained by Di Mingju and the pretty boy for a period of time, their bodies and spiritual power circulation are completely different. Plus, each of them have already activated their domains or are about to do so. Naturally, it won't be easy for them to reach core formation. Everything in the world is balanced. A perfect advancement can bestow you with great strength, but it will naturally bring several times more difficulties than an ordinary advancement. Do you think everyone is like your son? A child of heaven's will, who can casually cast an immortal body without any bottlenecks before ascending. Xiao Bao blinked, looking at Qi Huang, then at the somewhat depressed Mu Yan. Suddenly, he throws himself into Mu Yan's arms and gently rubs against her. Then, he blushes and kisses Mu Yan's face. Mother, little treasure will give all the good luck to you. Help mother advance. Mayan's heart immediately softens into a puddle of water. Mo Tinga completely threw the depression of not being able to form her gold core to the back of her mind. She hugged Xiaobao and kissed him several times. Compared to that brat who only knew how to squander, he was 10,000 times cuter. Qi Huang is flustered and exasperated as he curses. Jun Mayan, don't think that I don't know that you're silently criticizing me. Which part of me can't be compared to that little bastard of yours? Before he could finish his words, the fat rabbit had already taken a bite at Qi Huang with a howl. Even the little phoenix, who was most afraid of Qi Huang, was flying around him and pecking at him. Even the evil warding sword whistled as it rushed forward to take advantage of the situation. Daring to scold their little master, they must be tired of living. You are the little bastard. Your whole family is made up of little bastards. Muyan looks at Qi Huang, who's being chased all over the space by a few little guys. She immediately convulses with laughter. Sure enough, in this world, the only one who can restrain that brat spirit is her family Xiaobao. While the space is in chaos, Muyan suddenly hears a knock on the door from the outside. Chapter 1731. She opened the door and walked out, only to find that it was Fatty Zheng. No, she should not call him Fatty Zheng anymore. This was because he had lost a lot of weight. His originally fat face that looked like a Mithriya Buddha was now sunken in. This made him look even more handsome and dashing, especially his bean-like eyes. After his face became thinner, they became long and narrow. Occasionally, a sharpness would flash through his eyes. His entire temperament was completely different from before. Mu Yin sighed softly. Zhang Sinyu's tragic death was a huge blow to Zheng Little Fatty. Tribulations could change a person beyond recognition overnight, but they could also make a person grow up overnight. However, seeing Mu Yin, Zheng's eyes still lit up. He bowed and greeted, "Boss." Mu Yin smiles at him and leads him into the room to take a seat. Without waiting for Mu Yin to ask, Zheng Xiaopeng said, "Boss, I came to find you today because something happened in the Starry School recently." Recently, when Starry School went out to buy things, they were all rejected by all the shops. No one dared to accept the goods that they took out from the school. Most importantly, apart from the most dangerous Danyang mountain range, the few forests near Starry School are all guarded. Starry School students are not allowed to enter. Students can't train, so they naturally can't become stronger. He paused and said in a low voice, "Someone wants to trap Starry School." Mu Yin frowned. Then, she thought of something and said coldly, "It's the Tian clan." Zheng was surprised. "Boss, you know about it?" Mu Yin squinted and did not answer. Zheng continued, "Although our Zheng clan is not a prestigious clan in the Azure Blue world, we have many people under us. People from our side branches are involved in many places. I only found out about it after hearing it from my cousins. In reality, when he returned to the Zheng clan, he realized that there were people who wanted to steal his brother Zheng Jiaming's position as the successor. Thus, Zheng Little Fatty, who had been reborn, ruthlessly taught his disobedient cousins a lesson. At that time, a cousin had spread the word that the Tian clan was determined to get the 7 people from the Alcade branch. Now, even the entire Starry School had been locked down. If the Starry School did not hand over Junmayan and the rest, the entire Starry School would be finished. He told Zheng Little Fatty not to be too arrogant, because soon he wouldn't even be able to stay in the academy anymore. Zheng Fatty taught them a good lesson, and they all begged for mercy before rushing back to the Starry School. As soon as he returned, Zheng Little Fatty realized that something was wrong, although all the mentors and branch deans tried their best to cover up the peace. But it was true that the various super courtyards were supplying the inner courtyard with fewer and fewer medicinal pills each day, and the outer courtyard students were practically non-existent. Many students from the outer yard even made a ruckus, but they were all suppressed by the tutors. But his resentment was getting deeper and deeper. There was also the items that could be exchanged within the glittering jewel warehouse. In the past, they were all rare and precious treasures. They were things that could not be bought in the shops of other cities. But right now, the treasures within the glittering jewel warehouse were becoming fewer and fewer. There were only a few items that could be exchanged. Moreover, the mission hall of the glittering jewel warehouse had not released any high-level missions for a long time. All of this showed that the Starry School was in a dire situation. Chapter 1732. Zheng Xiaoping. Our Zheng family is related to the Tian family by marriage, so I sent someone to the Tian family to inquire about it. Then I heard. He frowned and looked at Mu Yin, deep worry in his eyes. Mu Yin calmed down instead. Heard what? Fatty Zheng said, the head of the Tian family has sworn to get the people of the Alcade branch, especially you. Cutting off all cultivation resources for Starry School is only the first step. The second step is to completely surround Starry School and turn it into an isolated city. Unless you are willing to sign a 100 years contract with the Tian clan will make Starry School lose its footing in the azure blue world. Mu Yin was not angry. Instead, she laughed. How shameless is Tian Haiba to want the Xiaoyao School to serve him for 100 years? Zheng Xiaopeng's mood was not too optimistic, but boss, their intentions are truly sinister. In this period of time, the anger of the Starry School students will definitely accumulate bit by bit. In the end, it will turn into anger and hatred. By then, even if you don't leave, maybe everyone will chase you away. In a desperate situation, human nature could not withstand the test. I heard that the Tian clan once used a similar method to cripple the top cultivators of several sections. In the end, the sect was completely swallowed by the Tian clan. Mu Yin smiled faintly and said slowly, now that you say it, I am really looking forward to it. She did not need to wait for the Tian clan to attack the innocent Starry School students. She could go to the Tian clan and meet the Tian clan leader herself. It's just that, before Mu Yin could finish her words, all of a sudden, the identity jade tokens in their bosoms emitted a beeping sound. Mu Yin took out the Starry School token and saw a line of words. All Starry School students, gather at Tai Square of the School of the Emperor's Star immediately. Mu Yin, the rest of the Xiaoyao School, and Zheng Xiaopeng boarded the spaceship and quickly arrived at Tai Square. Tai Square had already changed its appearance. The center was raised high, forming a high platform. Jiang Taihong was currently standing in the middle of the stage, looking at the students gathering around him in high spirits. Seeing Mu Yin and the others jump out of the spaceship, Jiang Taihong's eyes burst out with a sharp light. Mu Yin smiled at Zheng Xiaopeng and said, looks like someone can't hold it in anymore. Meng Bai Chuan rushed to the plaza and saw Jiang Taihong standing in the middle of the stage. He immediately rushed up in anger. What are you doing? Who told you to gather all the students? Only he, the college chief of the Starry School, had the right to gather all the students. However, no one knew where Jiang Taihong had obtained this authority from. Not only could he announce the highest level of the Starry School, but he could also control the Tai Square, a mustard divine device. Meng Baichuan was shocked and furious. It seemed like the connection between Zhang Taihong and Diyu Dao was far deeper than he had imagined. Take it deep. How could Zhang Taihong care about Meng Baichuan's expression? He glanced at Meng Baichuan coldly and said in a low voice, "The authority to gather the students and control the Tai E Plaza belongs to me. Your position as dean should also belong to me. After today, everything should be returned." You! Meng Baichuan wanted to attack, but Zhang Taihong waved his hand. The place where Meng Baichuan was standing immediately sank, and the two were quickly separated. Chapter 1733. Zhang Taihong did not wait for Meng Baichuan and the other tutors to react, and immediately said loudly, "Everyone, you should have noticed that the cultivation resources of the Starry School have been decreasing recently. The treasures in the glittering jewel warehouse are almost used up. Those who went out to train are either chased back or covered in injuries. Do you know who the culprit behind all of this is?" As soon as he said this, the students below were instantly stirred up. The anger and grievances that had accumulated over the past few days exploded at once. Who? Who did this to us? I want to buy pills. Once they heard that I was a student of the Starry School, those bastards not only refused to sell the pills to me, they even beat me up. Why did they do this? Hearing the crowd's anger, Zhang Taihong's expression became more and more smug. He sneered and glanced at Mu Yin and the others. Seeing that her expression was normal, he thought to himself, "You can only be smug for a while. Very soon, you will have a taste of being condemned by the public." Zhang Taihong raised his hand and gestured for the students to quiet down. However, the people below were still in a mess. No one paid attention to him at all. Zhang Taihong's expression darkened. He suddenly let out a roar, and his might spread out. Only then did the noisy students below slowly quieten down. Zhang Taihong said in a low voice, "Now, let me tell you, who is the culprit behind all this?" As he said this, he slowly raised his hand and pointed at Mu Yin and the others standing in the corner. "It's them. It's the people from the Alcade branch who offended the leader of the Tian clan, causing the Tian clan to be furious and want to punish the Starry School. The humiliation that you have suffered these days and the unfair treatment that the Starry School has experienced are all because of them." The news that Zhang Taihong had dropped had all the students in the Tai Square dizzy. What is going on? How did the people from the Alcade branch offend the leader of the Tian clan? Yes, we and the Tian clan have not interfered with each other. Seeing that the students below were all agitated, Zhang Taihong's face flashed with pride. He coughs lightly and uses his spiritual power to amplify his voice. He vividly recounts how Tian Haiba spent a lot of money to recruit Mayan, and even wanted to marry her as his official wife. How Mayan didn't know what was good for her, and sternly refused, and even insulted Tian Haiba as a toad. Think about it. What kind of person is Patriarch Tian? In the entire Azure Blue world, who wouldn't be respectful when they saw him? Those people from the Alcade branch dared to offend clan leader Tian. The Tian clan will not let it go so easily, so our Starry School was implicated by them. Zhang Taihong had originally thought that after he had finished speaking, the students would definitely be enraged and attack the people of the Alcade branch school. However, to his surprise, all of the students looked at each other. Not only did they not question the people from the Alcade branch, but they also started to shout, "Team Xiao Yao belongs to the Starry School. Why should we give him to the Tian clan? Yes, my cousin in Feng Tian heard that I can be in the same school as Jun Mayan and Team Xiao Yao. She's very envious of me. If everyone from Team Xiao Yao leaves, I'll cry for you." I've seen the leader of the Tian clan before. He has shifty eyes and looks like an old man. He wants to marry our god June. Dream on? Chapter 1734. If you don't let us buy things in Tianluo City and Sangyin City, I'll just go to other towns to buy. If I can't buy it in other towns, I'll go to Tingguang Ruins to buy it. Isn't it just a little more processing fee? I don't lack crystals. Yes, if the school can't afford to give out spirit refill pills, then so be it. We are students of Starry School. Of course, we have to live and die with the school. I'll buy the spirit refill pills myself. Zhang Taihong was dumbfounded after hearing the discussion below. Without Tian Haiba's consent, he made a school-wide announcement and told all the students about it. This was to make everyone hate Junmayan and the Yaoguang branch to the bone. Thus, they did not like Meng Baichuan, who protected the Yaoguang branch, but who knew that after these students heard that they were implicated by Junmayan, not only were they not angry, they even wanted to protect her. How could this be? Meng Baichuan looked at Zhang Taihong coldly, his face full of disdain. He said loudly, "As long as the people of the Yaoguang branch are students of Starry School, they will never be abandoned. This is the case for the people of the Yaoguang branch and the other students of Starry School. Regardless of whether you are in the outer or inner clan, as long as you are in Starry School, I, Meng Baichuan, will protect you." An earth-shattering applause burst out from below. "Long live College Chief Ming. Dean Ming, we all support you." Their voices rose and fell like the surging waves of the sea. Zhang Taihong did not expect that he would go for wool and come home shorn. He was so angry that he almost fainted on the platform. In Starry School, the news that Zhang Taihong announced the feud between Tian Clan and the Yaoguang branch quickly reached Tian Haiba's ears. Tian Haiba was so angry that he almost destroyed everything in the room. The woman who was serving him was even strangled to death by the throat by the furious Tian Haiba. Zhang Taihong is such an idiot. He can't do anything right. In the past, the Tian family had done this many times to crush a sect or family. Usually, they would use Tian clan's power to suppress the clan in all aspects. After 1 or 2 days of suppression, the clan would not fight back, nor would they hand over the people the Tian clan wanted. But in a month or two, a year or two, the sect's vitality would be greatly damaged. Those who were innocently implicated would also feel resentment, which would then turn into hatred. The only good thing was that he couldn't hold on any longer and had to hand over the person the Tian family wanted. If it was a little worse, the entire sect might even fall apart and eventually become a possession of the Tian family. However, Zhang Taihong was too eager for quick success and instant benefits. He wanted the position of the headmaster too much, so much, so that he lost his composure and intensified the conflict prematurely. Now that the Starry School's vitality had not been greatly damaged, the crowd was naturally furious. How could they surrender so easily? If Zhang Taihong was in front of him right now, Tian Haiba would definitely choke him to death. "Patriarch! Patriarch! Something's wrong." The steward hurriedly ran in, saying in a panic, "Patriarch, our shops in the Azure Cloud world have all been purchased by the Dark Flame Army. Now, their hands have even extended to the Azure Blue Realm. They are rich and overbearing, and we really can't stand against them. Furthermore, the stewards of those shops are the backbone of my Tian family's army." Before he could finish, Tian Haiba had already picked up a porcelain bottle and smashed it over. The steward screamed in pain. His head was smashed and he fell to the ground. Chapter 1735. Get lost. Why did you come to me for such a small matter? Why do I keep you useless people? Whoever dares to touch the Tian clan's property, can't I just kill them? The housekeeper wanted to explain, but seeing Tian Haiba's furious expression, he did not dare to say anything and ran away. Luo Tian approached Tian Haiba carefully and said in a low voice, "Clan leader, now that things have come to this, why don't we go all the way? Let's just lock down the Starry School and snatch them back." Tian Haiba was about to get angry, but hearing Luo Tian's words, his eyes moved slightly. Luo Tian continued, "Clan leader, think about it. Although the Starry School has some resources, they only have 2 nascent soul cultivators that we can use now. Zhang Taihong is on our side. The remaining Golden Core tutors are not even as many as the Tian clan's guests. As for the students, other than a few elites, the rest are just trash. Once the Tian army moves, I guarantee that they will be scared shitless. At that time, if they are still unwilling to hand over Junmayan and the Carefree team, we might as well bring the entire Starry School under the Tian clan. What do you think?" Tian Haiba's expression became more and more spirited as he listened, his eyes shining brightly. Finally, he slammed the table and said loudly, "All right, gather all the people in the Tian clan now and surround the entire Starry School. Haha, I want them to know the consequences of offending me. Tian Haiba, Luo Tian, you will be in charge of this. All the people in the Tian clan will be under your command. You must bring that bitch Junmayan back." Tian Haiba patted Luo Tian's shoulder and said gently, "If you do this well, the position of the Tian army's commander will be yours. Don't disappoint me." Luo Tian was so excited that his entire body could not help but tremble. He quickly bowed and said, "Clan leader, don't worry. I will definitely do this well." Azure Blue World, Murong Clan. "You have taught her wrong. It's different from what the boss said." The chubby little bean put his hands on his hips and said sternly to the middle-aged man in front of him, "Our boss is never wrong, so you must have taught him wrong." The middle-aged man was called Liao Zhang. He was a golden core stage cultivator. He was also the instructor that the Murong family had hired to teach Murong, Hao, and a few other juniors. Liao Zhang was not very strong, but as a golden core stage cultivator, it was more than enough for him to teach a little kid like Murong Hao. However, he did not expect Murong Hao to say that the method he taught was wrong. Liao Zhang's face turned green and white as he was told by a 6-year-old child that he had taught the wrong things. "I've been teaching cultivation for so many years, and no one has ever said that I'm wrong. Young master said that I am different from your boss. I wonder who your boss is? Could it be a nascent soul expert?" Murong Hao puffed up his cheeks. "Boss is the boss. Boss is the best. Of course he's right. What kind of original infant stage expert is this?" On the side, a little boy who was a head taller than Murong Hao suddenly laughed. "That's a kid who's even younger than him. I heard it from my father. What boss, what expert calling a 5-year-old kid boss? It's really funny." "Bastard, you're not allowed to say that about my boss." Murong Hao rushed over like a small cannonball and ruthlessly hit Murong Peng's abdomen. Chapter 1736. Murong Peng cried out in pain and took a few steps back. He was so embarrassed that he was about to attack Murong Hao. Liao Zhang quickly stopped the two of them. Murong Peng was the son of Murong Bai's concubine. Murong Hao, on the other hand, was the most distinguished grandson of the Murong family and was recognized as talented since birth. Naturally, their statuses could not be mentioned in the same breath. But Liao Zhang was really angry. Murong Hao just said that he was not even comparable to a 5-year-old. He couldn't help but put on a serious face. "Young master, you shouldn't have befriended those shady people outside. They brought you back now. What boss? How could you believe the words of a 5-year-old kid?" Murong Hao was about to explode. "You're the shady one. Our boss is the best. He's the best in the world and the best in the world. What you've taught is bullshit. It can't even compare to a hair on our boss's head. I don't want you to teach me anymore." Liao Zhang was so angry that he almost fainted. Murong Peng rubbed his stomach and suddenly rolled his eyes. "Murong Hao, you said that your boss is very powerful and what he taught you is right? Then do you have the guts to accept my challenge?" Murong Hao tilted his head. "Challenge? Yes." Murong Peng pointed at Liao Peng. "I'll fight you using what Mr. Liao taught me. If I lose, it means that your boss is more powerful. If you lose, it means that Mr. Liao is powerful and your boss is nothing." Murong Hao said, "All right, let's fight. I don't need the skills that boss taught me. I'll beat your teeth out." Liao Zhang wanted to stop the fight. After all, Murong Hao was too young. He was only 6 years old, while Murong Peng was already 9. Although Murong Hao was very talented, he had been pampered all these years. Usually, he only knew how to play around, and no one forced him to cultivate. Murong Peng, on the other hand, practiced hard every day because his father was born of a concubine. He wanted to win Murong Bai's favor. He was very scheming at such a young age. On one hand, he was jealous of Murong Hao's treatment, but on the other hand, he hoped that Murong Hao could live like this forever. At that time, he would become a good-for-nothing debauchee, and everything that belonged to Murong family would be inherited by him. Therefore, he was determined to teach Murong Hao a lesson in front of the master. At that time, When this news reached his grandfather, Murong Bai's ears, perhaps Murong Bai would have a whole new level of respect for him. Liao Zhang frowned and said, "Young master, I think there's no need for a competition." "No." Murong Hao refused without hesitation. "I won't let anyone who insults boss get away with it." He swore to be the boss's #1 follower. If he didn't work hard to protect boss's face, how would he be able to face boss in the future? What if his position as the #1 lackey was snatched away by someone else? Liao Zhang was infuriated as well. His face darkened as he retreated to the side. "All right, then stop where you're going to. Let's exchange some pointers." It seemed like it was time to teach this young master, who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth, a lesson. When the servants and maids who were serving Murong Hao and Murong Peng saw the development of the situation, they all looked worried and panicked. They all liked Murong Hao, the cute little boy. Although he was usually mischievous, he never lost his temper at them. At this moment, it was obvious that Murong Hao would lose the duel between Murong Peng and Murong Hao. He might even lose miserably. A clever servant had already sneaked into the crowd and ran towards Murong Bai's study. Chapter 1737. Hearing that, Murong Bai immediately slammed the table and shouted, "What did you say? Howler wants to compete with Peng? What kind of joke was this? His Howler was so chubby and small. How could he beat the 9-year-old Murong Peng? What's more, Murong Hao had just been kidnapped and narrowly escaped death." Murong Bai and the others couldn't wait to see his precious grandson get beaten up. Now, when he thought about how his precious grandson was about to be beaten up, he was instantly unable to sit still, and he dashed towards the practice grounds like a bolt of lightning. However, once he reached the training field, Murong Bai discovered that the place was packed to the brim with people, and the entire training field was silent. Everyone's expression looked like they had seen a ghost as they stared at the center of the training field. Liao Zhang's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. His mouth was half open and his face was blank. He didn't even notice that he dropped his sword. Murong Bai was surprised that everyone had this kind of expression on their faces. Then he heard his precious grandson's voice coming from the crowd. "Do you submit? Do you admit defeat?" What followed was the sound of fists pounding on flesh, and Murong Peng's sobbing begging. I submit. Don't hit me anymore." "Then apologize to my boss." I'll apologize." "Do you still dare to speak ill of my boss in the future?" "Woo-woo. I won't dare anymore. Isn't my boss the strongest and greatest in the world?" Yes. "Oh." Murong Bai regained his senses and hurriedly pushed through the crowd. As soon as he squeezed in, he saw his chubby little grandson riding on the 9-year-old Murong Peng's body, arrogantly asking Murong Peng to tell him how great his boss was. If Murong Peng spoke slowly, he would use his fists to serve him. His fists were faintly wrapped in a layer of spiritual energy. Although the punches didn't hurt Murong Peng's muscles or bones, it made him cry out in pain. A 9-year-old boy was being ridden on by a 6-year-old little bean, unable to resist at all. This scene truly scared everyone present. Seeing this scene, Murong Bai was startled at first, but then he couldn't help but clap his hands and burst into laughter. Good, as expected of my good grandson. Just by looking at the punches that landed on Murong Peng's body, it could be seen that Murong Hao's control over his spiritual power was already very fine. Therefore, even though his cultivation level was not as high as Murong Peng's, in terms of combat ability, he was able to beat Murong Peng, who was 3 years older than him. "Grandfather." When Murong Hao heard Murong Bai's voice, he immediately abandoned Murong Peng, who was beaten black and blue, and dove into Murong Bai's embrace. "Grandpa, why are you here?" Murong Bai had always doted on this little grandson who loved to act spoiled. She didn't think that such intimacy would affect her dignity. She hugged him and kissed him. "Grandpa, come and see how awesome Howler is." "Of course." Murong Hao puffed out his chest and said proudly, "I'm Big Brother's little brother. How can I embarrass Big Brother?" When Murong Hao said this, Murong Bai's expression changed a little. He pulled Murong Hao to a place where there was no one around. "However, the battle between you and your cousin just now? Was it really taught by your boss? Of course, Murong Hao said without hesitation. Big Brother brought us to fight all kinds of dire beasts in the Danyang mountain range. We're amazing. We even killed a Class 4 dire beast. Chapter 1738. The teeth that Howard gave Grandpa were made by us. This time Murongbai was truly shocked. He had always thought that they had picked up the Class 4 fierce beast teeth from the Danyang mountain range. As for the part about killing a Class 4 dire beast together, that was just a child's boast. Who would have thought that it was actually true? Howard, did you guys really kill that Class 4 dire beast? Your boss didn't help you? Grandpa, you are so stupid. Of course, the Class 4 dire beast was killed by us. If the boss were to take action, forget about a Class 4 dire beast. Even a Class 6 or 7 dire beast would be easily killed. Murong Hao hugged Murongbai's thigh. Grandpa, when can I go see boss again? I haven't seen boss in a long time. Murongbai muttered to himself for a while before saying, All right, Grandpa will bring you to see your boss in 2 days. It seems that he should go and ask that monstrous little doll, Junmai's son. How did he teach his grandson? He had actually made his grandson become so powerful within a month. Oh, Grandpa is the best. Halvor loves Grandpa the most. I want to tell this good news to Yin Yin and the others. I have my grandfather to take me to see boss, but they can't. Everyone will be so jealous of me. Thus, 1 day later, the Nalan family, Lu family, Duan family, and Feng family were all in an uproar. All the little fellows were clamoring to see their boss. Nalan Yan's eyes turned into walnuts from crying. Oh, Grandpa doesn't love Yin Yin anymore. Hao Hao's grandpa already brought Hao Hao to see boss, but Grandpa didn't bring Yin Yin. Grandpa doesn't love Yin Yin at all. In the face of his precious granddaughter's tears, what could Nalan Qing do? He was also helpless. Okay. Grandpa will bring you to see your boss? Okay. Nalan Yin immediately smiled through his tears. He hugged his grandfather and kissed him heavily on his face. Grandpa is the best. Yin Yin loves Grandpa the most. Grandpa Nalan thought sourly. What do you mean by loving Grandpa the most? The one you love the most is your boss, right? Forget it. In any case, he also wants to pay a visit to Junmai and her evildoer son. After her granddaughter came back, her strength had improved so much that she was shocked. Also, the pills and talismans that his granddaughter had taken out were not things that he had never seen before. Even in Tingguang ruins, he couldn't buy them even if he wanted to. Ask her where these things come from. Nalan Yin shook his head and said happily, and he gave it to Yin Yin. His mother was very, very good. She was beautiful and powerful, and she could conjure up many, many things. Hao Hao and the others also had some, but Yin Yin had the most. Because old mother said that Yin Yin is a beautiful girl and needs to be spoiled. Nalan Yin smiled. She wanted to see her little brother, and she also wanted to see his mother. Nalan Qing, on the other hand, had a pensive look on his face. All right, Grandpa will contact the Murong family and the Lu family. Everyone will arrange a time to visit your boss together. Muyin came out of the space and yawned, looking exhausted. Luo Yu asked, 6th senior sister, what have you been busy with recently? That Tian family has gone too far. Should we directly go and kill our way to their door? Yun Ruhan frowned. The Tian family's master is at the nascent soul stage, and there are hundreds of golden core experts under him, as well as thousands of Tian family's lords. If we rashly go and kill our way to their door, wouldn't that be courting death? Then what should we do? Lung Yuma gritted her teeth and said, Are we just going to let them be arrogant? This Laonyang will absolutely not swallow this. Chapter 1739. Mu Yin smiled. Don't worry. If we can't hunt the vicious beast directly, we can first cut off its claws, pull out its teeth, and then it won't be too late. What do you mean? Although I don't understand what it means, Junior Marshall Sister's expression is too similar to Third Senior Marshall Brothers. I have a feeling that someone is going to suffer. Speaking of which, what has Third Senior Brother been doing in seclusion all this time? I didn't even see his shadow. As they spoke, the identity tokens on their bodies began to ring. Yun Ruhan asked, "You want us to gather at Tai Square again? It must be that Jiang Taihong. What the hell is he up to this time? What the hell is going on? Won't we know once we take a look?" Sure enough, as soon as Mu Yin and the others arrive at Tai E Plaza, they see Jiang Taihong standing in the middle with a sinister expression. This time, Jiang Taihong didn't reveal any arrogant or excited expression. Instead, he looked at the students and teachers who arrived one after another with a straight face. His eyes occasionally flashed with struggle, but in the end it was replaced by malice and resentment. Especially when he saw Meng Baichuan coming over, his eyes were filled with resentment. The moment Meng Baichuan landed, he immediately pointed at Jiang Taihong and cursed. "What the hell are you doing? Who gave you the right to torment students again and again?" Jiang Taihong did not answer him. Instead, he glanced at the Tai Square and realized that all the students and teachers of the Starry School had basically arrived. Only then did he open his mouth and reveal a sinister smile. "I've warned you before. Don't go against the Tian family. Don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. But you don't listen to me, and you insist on protecting those people from the All-Cade institution. Ha! You only have yourselves to blame for ending up like this." The expressions of Meng Baichuan and the branch deans beside him changed when they heard that. "Jiang Taihong, what did you do?" Just as he finished speaking, a blinding light shone from the center of the school of the Emperor's Star. Then, the matrix that enveloped the entire Starry School disappeared. Jiang Taihong threw away the shattered jade slip in his hand and glared at Meng Baichuan with a twisted expression. "You forced me to do this. The position of dean was mine to begin with, but you just had to snatch it away. I could have been on good terms with the Tian family, but you just had to destroy it. So, don't blame me for being ruthless. I was forced by you. I just want to borrow the Tian family's hand to take back what I deserve." The next moment, countless spaceships descended from the sky. Dozens, or even hundreds of Shouja, wearing the clothing of the Tian family, came down from each flying ship. All the students and teachers were shocked, unable to react to what had just happened. Mu Yin, on the other hand, slightly frowns. A cold glint flashes under her lowered eyes. When all the flying ships stopped, the Tian family cultivators immediately scattered. Some went to destroy or take away all the spaceships parked around Tai E Square. There were also some who sealed off the school of the Emperor's Star to the outside world. The students and teachers in the square were in a state of panic. Shocked and angry, they wanted to stop him, but they were stopped by hundreds of Golden Core cultivators. In an instant, the school of the Emperor's Star became an isolated city. Luo Tian swaggered down from a luxurious spaceship and sneered at the teachers and students who were ready to make a move. "You guys better not act rashly. Otherwise, if our Tian family cultivators were to accidentally injure these students and cause them to lose an arm or a leg, I'm afraid you'll be the one to feel heartache." Chapter 1740. This sentence was a blatant threat. Even if the golden elixir cultivators of the Tian clan could not stop everyone, some students would definitely fall into their hands. Could they just watch these students die and not save them? Meng Baichuan suddenly leaped up and slapped towards Luo Tian. Dense spiritual chi surged in the air. The attack was overwhelming, and Luo Tian's face revealed a trace of fear. However, Meng Baichuan's attack was quickly blocked in midair. Boom! With a loud sound, the two figures separated in midair. Meng Baichuan's body shook after he regained his balance. Then, he stared in disbelief at the person who had just attacked. "Jiang Taihong, what are you doing?" Jiang Taihong smiled sinisterly. "Meng Baichuan, you don't know what's good for you. You've offended the Tian clan and dragged the Starry School into an irrecoverable state. It's time for someone else to be the Starry School's chief." Luo Tian calmed down and laughed immediately. "Headmaster Jiang is right. The headmaster of the Starry School should be replaced by someone with virtue and ability. Headmaster Jiang is not bad. When this is over, I will definitely report to the clan leader and let Headmaster Jiang take over the Starry School. Then I will rely on the Tian clan in the future." Jiang Taihong was overjoyed and walked to Luo Tian's side. looking like he was going to protect him. Meng Baichuan and the Starry School students all had ugly expressions. The dignified deputy headmaster of the Starry School was actually so servile to a lackey of a clan. Such a scum was a disgrace to the Starry School. The smile on Luo Tian's face becomes more and more complacent and carefree. He leisurely walks in front of Mayan, his shifty gaze sweeping over Mayan and the people of Yaoguang branch behind her. Jun Mayan, can you think it over clearly now? If you sign a 100-year contract with the Tian clan immediately, we can retreat immediately. If you are still stubborn, then don't blame us for letting the entire Starry School die with you. From now on, the entire school of the Emperor Star only allows people to enter and not leave. Every hour, if you still don't agree, we'll kill a few Starry School students. As for who will kill, I can't guarantee that. We'll see who's unlucky enough to lose their heads. The Tai Square was silent for a moment, and then there was a sudden burst of noise. What right do you have to commit murder in Starry School? That's right. Aren't you afraid that the entire Azure Blue realm will punish you for killing people as you please? Do you still have a law? Law! Luo Tian laughed heartily. My Tian family will soon become the overlord of the Azure Blue world. If I want you to live, you will live. If I want you to die, you will die. What was the law? Very soon, our Tian family will be the law. However, his gaze swept across Mu Yan, and his lips curled into a cold smile. Our clan leader was originally also a venerable to the Starry School, and he wanted to recruit the students here for his own use. Who asked someone to not know what's good for them and offend our patriarch? Don't blame our Tian family for being ruthless. If you want to blame someone, blame those who overestimated themselves and implicated your people. Moreover, if they give up resisting now and sign the contract with the Tian family, wouldn't everyone in the Starry School be fine? Luo Tian's words caused many people to look at Mu Yan's group. Chapter 1741. Sworn to live and die with Starry School 1. A female voice suddenly screamed from the crowd. Jun Mayan, Ling Yuxing, are you really going to watch the entire school be implicated by you? If you still have a conscience, shouldn't you stand up and sign the contract yourselves? Mayan looked in the direction of the voice. It was indeed Ouyang Mingzhu who would point out the fifth senior brother. Ouyang Mingzhu strode out of the crowd and pointed at them, saying righteously, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and say that you're willing to sign the contract." Mayan said slowly, "What if I'm not willing? You're so shameless." Behind Ouyang Mingzhu, a skinny woman and a short and fat man jumped out together, shouting, "Everyone, this has nothing to do with the Starry School. It's all because the people from the Yaoguang branch offended the Tian clan leader. That's why all of us are in trouble. If it were me, I would definitely stand up and be willing to reconcile with Tian clan. But they're so cold-hearted. You would rather watch our academy's students die. Shouldn't we take the initiative to expel such a scum from the Starry School?" Mayan glanced at the two people who were speaking. They were actually acquaintances. During the tri-school tournament, the two students from the Alioth branch who urged everyone to remove the Xiao Yao team from the tournament. Now it seemed that the two had a close relationship with Ouyang Mingzhu. Ouyang Mingzhu cried, "Yuxing, you've always been a kind person. Even if you have to sacrifice yourself, you'd never be willing to implicate others. Why have you changed now? Just treat it as me begging you? On account of our childhood friendship. Why don't you give in? Tian clan is also one of the top clans in the Azure Blue world. If you go there, it won't be a disgrace. Why are you just willing to agree?" The three's words indeed resonated with a portion of the teachers and students in Tai Square, especially the students and tutors of the Alioth branch. There were even a few who agreed. They hurriedly urged Mayan's group to immediately sign the contract with Tian clan so that innocent people like them would not be implicated. Some even suggested that they did not need to wait for Mu Yin and the others to make a decision. They could just chase everyone from the Alcade branch out of the Starry School. Zhang Taiyong looked at Meng Baichuan mockingly. "Do you see that? This is the general trend. Are you really going to sacrifice all the students of the Starry School for just 7 people?" Meng Baichuan's face turned pale. He wanted to stop them from cursing, but he felt as if something was stuck in his throat. If he had to sacrifice other innocent students in order to protect the students of the Alcade branch, wouldn't he have failed in his duty as the dean? Luo Tian watched as these people coordinated with his performance and felt an indescribable joy in his heart. Because he knew that if this went on, then perhaps he wouldn't even have to use force, and he would be able to resolve the matter perfectly. However, what they didn't realize was that there were only a few people in the entire plaza who were shouting for Mu Yin and the others to sacrifice and scram. Most of them shut their mouths tightly, while their expressions were cold, solemn, and oppressive. It was like the calm before the storm. Luo Tian raised his chin and looked at the people of the Yaoguang branch with a condescending look. Have you made up your mind? Are you going to immediately submit to the Tian clan? Submit your ass! Lung Yuma jumped up and was about to beat someone up, but was stopped by Mu Yin. Chapter 1742. She smiled faintly and said, "In that case, the 7 of us from the Xiaoyao school will leave the Starry School together." Before she could finish her words, a shout came from the crowd. "I don't agree to expel the people from the Alcade branch from the Starry School." Qining Lu from the Tianxin branch said, "I don't agree either." Su Yingbua from the Tianquan branch also stood out. What did the people from the Alcade branch do? Why should they be sacrificed? Why should they be expelled from the school? The young man from the Tianshu branch who had always been by Ouyang Qing's side also walked up. If our lives can only be saved by sacrificing innocent students, how can we continue living in the future? Chun Ping and Wu Gue, who were loyal to Yi Liangshan, also spoke up. When the Xiaorao team won glory for us, we shouted that they were our classmates. Once there's a bit of trouble, we denied all responsibility. We can't do such a shameless thing. More and more students started to stand out. Some were from the inner school, some were from the outer school. Some were from the freshman competition with Mu Yin and the rest. Some had listened to Luo Yunxiao and Di Mingju's lectures in the Alcade branch. Some of them had once argued with Mu Yin and the others and had disagreements. Some were loyal to Yi Liangshan and the Xiaorao team. More and more people stood behind Qinan Lu and Su Yingbua, who were the first to speak. Slowly, the crowd was divided into 2 groups. Behind Qinan Lu and Su Yingbua was a dense group of students and teachers. Their eyes were firm, and their expressions were determined. There was fear and panic on their faces, but most of them were determined not to turn back. On the other side, behind Ouyang Mingzhu, there were only a dozen people. After seeing this scene, some of them even looked ashamed and wanted to sneak behind Qinan Lu and Su Yingbua. Ouyang Mingzhu's face, which was originally full of pride, instantly turned into anger out of humiliation. The faces of the people behind her were all flushed red, wishing they could find a hole to hide in. Qinan Lu looked at them in disdain and said coldly, "None of us are unafraid of death. However, you tried to sacrifice your companions' lives and benefits in exchange for your own survival. I, Qinan Lu, am ashamed to call such a person my classmate. Yes, since you're so afraid of death, isn't it easy for you to survive? Why don't you just drop out of Starry School?" The Alcade branch is a part of the Starry School. Junmayan and the Carefree team are all students of the Starry School. They fought for Constellation and won glory for us. Now, someone actually wants to expel them. I won't agree even if I die. Damn it, I may not be a hero, but I'm going to risk my life today. Damn Tian family, if you want to take away our academy students, then you'll have to step over my dead body. Yes, we swear to live and die with Constellation today. You want us to sacrifice our companions to survive? Dream on. The positions of the Starry School's teachers and students changed again. The dense crowd surrounded the 7 people from the Xiaoyao sect, not giving them any opportunity to attack. The tutors and branch deans of the Starry School stood up spontaneously and stood at the front of the crowd, protecting their students. With tears in his eyes, Meng Baichuan leaped and landed in front of all the instructors. Using his spiritual power to amplify his voice, he shouted, "If you want to touch the Constellation students, you'll have to do it over my dead body." Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 1743. Xiaobao's reinforcements? 1. Protect our companions. We swear to live and die with Starry School. We swear to live and die with Starry School. When they saw the Tian family army land, heard Luo Tian's threat, and Ouyang Mingzhu's questioning, the expressions of the Xiaoyao school people did not change. However, at this moment, when they saw the Starry School students surrounding them and using their not-so-strong bodies to shield them from all the attacks, their eyes turned red one after another. Mu Yin pressed her hand on her chest. Something seemed to be boiling and burning there. When she first entered Starry School, she only wanted to find Xiaobao, to kill time and learn something. Entering the Qingyun ranking, participating in the glorious heavenly light, and shining in the Tri-School tournament. To the Xiaoyao school people, it was just a pastime. However, their casual actions were remembered by the students of this academy bit by bit. They saw the Xiaorao team as the pride of Starry School. They saw Yi Liangchen as the symbol of Starry School, the boss they respected and admired. Facing a desperate situation, they clearly had a chance to escape. They were so weak, but they still stood in front of them and wanted to protect them. Suddenly, Mu Yin heard Luo use hoarse voice. I feel that for the first time, I'm proud to be a student of Starry School. Yes, they were students of Starry School. Swearing to live and die with Starry School was not an empty promise. Mu Yin took a deep breath and forced the warmth in her eyes away. She pushed the crowd aside and walked forward slowly. Luo Tian didn't expect things to turn out the way he wanted. He looked at the group of students with a sinister gaze. Just as he's planning to kill someone to frighten the tiger, he sees Jun Mayan coming forward. He rolled his eyes and couldn't help but sneer. What? Seeing so many students sacrificing themselves to protect you? Jun Mu Yin, you finally found your conscience and stopped going against Tian Clan? Haha, don't worry. As long as you sign a 100-year contract with Tian Clan, we will not mistreat you. We will still give you a few hundred top-grade crystals a year. Ha! But if he still wanted the treatment that the Patriarch had proposed at the beginning, it would be a daydream. Mu Yin faintly smiled and said unhurriedly, Unfortunately, I don't want to choose either of these two paths. You don't want to choose? Luo Tian's face darkened. This is not up to you. Either you pledge allegiance to my Tian family, or you watch helplessly as your classmate dies because of you. You don't have a third choice. No, we do. The people from the Xiaoyao school slowly walked up. Lung Yuma took out her long blade. The third choice is for us to kill all of your Tian family members here. As soon as these words came out, the surrounding noise quieted down for a moment. At first, Luo Tian was startled by the powerful aura emanating from these people. But after hearing Lung Yuma's words, he immediately laughed out loud. Kill all the people of our Tian clan? Just a few of you, or the motley crew of the Starry School? Ha ha ha, don't make me laugh to death. There were indeed many students in the Starry School. However, most of them were delicate flowers in a greenhouse that had not experienced the wind and rain. Even when they fought, they were all independent and rarely cooperated with each other. As for the outer yard students, 90% of them had not even reached the fasting stage. Chapter 1744. Xiaobao's Reinforcements? 2. On the other hand, on the Tian clan side, not to mention the hundreds of golden elixir cultivators, they could easily crush a large group of students and mentors. Even those cultivators who didn't need to eat had come from the edge of a knife, and their hands had been stained with countless lives. Their cooperation with each other was also impeccable. How could these inexperienced students contend against them? Therefore, after Mu Yin and the others said this, not just Luo Tian, Zhang Taihong, and the cultivators under the Tian clan all laughed. Even Meng Baichuan and the other Starry School teachers looked worried. How was it possible to kill everyone in the Tian clan? Mentors as tough as Qi Ming had already stepped forward and shielded Mu Yin and the others behind him, telling them to quickly retreat into the crowd. Mu Yin was touched. Just as she was about to speak, she saw a spaceship land in the sky. Fatty Zheng, who had lost a lot of weight, and his lackeys walked down one by one. However, the person walking at the very front was not Zheng Little Fatty. Instead, it was a little doll who looked like a celestial child carved from jade. Seeing Mu Yin, the little baby immediately pounced over and pounced into her arms. Mu Yin touched Xiaobao's head. She did not carry him, but held his little hand. Is it done? Xiaobao just nodded and did not speak. Little Fatty Zheng's lackeys ran over excitedly and said, Boss, it's all done. Ha! With our young master here. How could it not be done? Tisk TSK. The boss is the boss. It's fine if you're strong, but even your son is so awesome. Fatty Zheng walked to Mu Yan's side and whispered a few words. Mu Yan nodded and lowered her head to smile at Xiaobao. Xiaobao, you did well. Xiaobao's exquisite and beautiful face was expressionless, but his pair of blue eyes were bright and sparkling like stars. Being able to help his mother was the happiest thing for him. When the spaceship started to descend, Luo Tian was still a little surprised. When he saw the baby and Fatty Zheng's group, he immediately showed a look of disdain. Luo Tian, Jun Mayan, don't tell me that you think that you can contend against my Tian family with these several wastes? Ha ha ha, don't make me laugh my head off. Why don't you take a look at how many people my Tian army has? You want to kill all of us? Unless you immediately summon a few thousand people? In that case, there might still be a sliver of hope for victory. Ha! Just as Luo Tian's laughter faded, he heard his subordinate exclaim, What? What is that? Luo Tian's complacent mood was interrupted, and he glanced at his subordinate with displeasure. However, she still followed the direction of his hand and looked towards the sky. However, when he took a closer look, his eyes widened and his face was filled with shock. In the sky, a dense group of spaceships was flying towards the school of the Emperor's Star. Before Luo Tian and the others could react, the flying ship had already arrived above the school of the Emperor's Star. It was descending slowly. The leading spaceship was extremely large, and it was decorated with jewels and pearls, looking extremely gorgeous. In the middle of the ship, there was a large, glittering word, Zhu. This was the ship of the richest man in the azure blue realm, Zhu Fugui. But why would Zhu Fugui's spaceship come here? Moreover, why would there be so many spaceships? What do they want? Luo, you swallowed. Sixth sister, are these the reinforcements that you asked Xiaobao to bring? Chapter 1745. Did they come to repay a debt of gratitude? 1. Where did this come from? Isn't this a bit too many ships? If there are hundreds of people on each ship, then the total number of people on these ships is no less than the Tian family. But where did Mu Yin find so many reinforcements? The people of the Xiao Yao sect all look at Mu Yin. However, Mu Yin's expression is even more shocked than they are. She looks at Xiao Bao and Fatty Zheng. Xiao Bao and Fatty Zheng both shake their heads. No, the people we arranged haven't come yet. This time, the people of the Xiao Yao sect are dumbfounded. If it's not Mu Yan's people, then who are on these ships? Could it be the Tian family's helpers? Thinking of this, Yun Ruhan and the others' faces become extremely serious. Even if it's only the Tian family, they will have to pay a heavy price to break out of the encirclement. If there are double the number of people, then today, the people in the Tai Square are full of bewilderment, guessing who the people on these ships are and why they came. At this time, the largest luxurious ship's protective cover slowly opens, and a gray-haired but spirited old man slowly walks down from it. Behind him, there are more than 10 practitioners dressed in brown uniforms. As soon as Luo Tian sees this old man, he frowns, and the bewilderment in his eyes deepens. When the old man comes in front of him, he immediately asks bluntly, Housekeeper Zhu, what are you doing? My Tian family is in the middle of a proper business, and you came here with such a large force. Do you want a piece of the pie? Housekeeper Zhu strokes his beard and chuckles. Lord Luo must be joking. My Zhu family is not interested in the shady business that your Tian family is doing. So why would I want a piece of the pie? This is clearly looking down on the Tian family's unscrupulous methods. Luo Tian is furious, but he can't help but sigh in relief when he hears that the old man won't interfere. Since you're not going to get a piece of the pie, what's the meaning of Housekeeper Zhu bringing so many ships here? Housekeeper Zhu, Lord Luo might not know, but our family's master has just reunited with his granddaughter, who has been missing for many years. As he speaks, there's a mournful expression on his face. Our family's miss has been wandering in the Yinwu continent all these years, suffering a lot in that barren land without spiritual energy. But thanks to a kind-hearted person who took her in and taught her, improving her strength, she had the opportunity to ascend to the cultivation continent and become a member of our master's group. Luo Tian frowned and said impatiently, "What does old Master Zhu, recognizing his granddaughter, have to do with you coming here to obstruct my Tian family?" Steward Zhu smiled like a Methriya Buddha and continued to speak slowly. "Don't be anxious, Lord Luo. I haven't finished speaking yet. The person who saved my young mistress in the Yinwu continent is now in the Starry School. Our young miss is here to thank her benefactor," Luo Tian said angrily. "Is there a need to bring so many people to thank our benefactor? You've brought all of the Zhu family subordinates here, right?" Steward Zhu said, "Haha, Lord Luo is mistaken. These people aren't from our Zhu family. Instead, he came with our young Mississippi." "What do you mean by coming with your young miss? Who are these people? Tell me clearly." Luo Tian wanted to stop them, but as soon as he moved, he was stopped by the two Golden Core experts beside Steward Zhu. Without waiting for Luo Tian to get angry, Steward Zhu brought the cultivators behind him and strode towards Mayan and the others. Chapter 1746. Here to repay a debt of gratitude? 2. But when he passed by Meng Baichuan, he suddenly stopped in his tracks. "Chief Meng, I heard that the Starry School can't even buy any pills or treasures in the Azure Blue world and can't trade with other shops." Meng Baichuan lowered his head in shame. "It's my fault as the chief. But even if I have to go bankrupt, I won't let the school be like this forever." Before he could finish, Housekeeper Zhu had already interrupted him. "How about this? From now on, all the pills, talismans, treasures, spiritual herbs, and beast cores of the Starry School will be sold to you at 50% off in our shops." "Deutsch? What?" Meng Baichuan was dumbfounded. Housekeeper Zhu continued, "We will also buy all the treasures that the Starry School sells at market price. If the Starry School students don't have a place to train, the Zhu clan has a secret plane in the Azure Blue world that we can open to you." This time, not just Meng Baichuan, but all the teachers and students in Tai Square were dumbfounded. Was this a joke? Was the Zhu clan going to take all the expenses of the Starry School? That's right, as the richest family in the Azure Blue world, the Zhu clan indeed had the ability to do so. But the Zhu clan was not related to the Starry School at all. Why would they work so hard to help them? Luo Tian, on the other hand, was furious. "Old Zhu, how dare you? Isn't your Zhu clan clearly going against my Tian clan by doing this?" Housekeeper Zhu laughed, still smiling like a Methriya Buddha. "How can that be? These are all the dowry that our master told us to give to the young lady. How the young lady likes to use them is her business." Meng Baichuan stuttered. Why is the Zhu clan helping the Starry School?" Housekeeper Zhu replied, "Of course it's because our young lady's savior is in the school." Luo Tian leaped forward and shouted angrily, "Who is the savior of your family's young miss? Tell me. Let's see how you repay me after I kill him." Housekeeper Zhu ignored Luo Tian and continued to lead the group forward. He walked to Mu Yin and bowed deeply. When he raised his head, his eyes were already a little wet. "Miss June, thank you for your great kindness to my Zhu family." Mu Yin frowns, her face full of suspicion. "Master Zhu has already thanked me for saving Zhu Kuanyong." "No, it's not our young master, it's our young miss," Steward Zhu exclaimed excitedly. "Miss June, not only did you save our young master, even our master's long-lost granddaughter was found because of you." Mu Yin is even more confused. "Your miss? But I don't know your young miss." Her words had just left her mouth when suddenly, a sobbing female voice rang out from behind Steward Zhu. "Miss, we finally found you." Hearing this voice, Mu Yin suddenly opened his eyes wide, almost not daring to believe his ears. Then, Steward Zhu slowly moved to the side, revealing a delicate and pretty girl standing behind him. The girl was dressed in white, and her eyes were lively. When she walked leisurely, She looked like a dancing snow goose. But at this moment, this smart and lively girl walked step by step towards Mu Yin with tears in her eyes. When she slowly knelt down towards Mu Yin, she finally could not hold back her tears and said, "Snow Goose of the Nether Fire Army, greets the young miss." Chapter 1747. The Nether Flame Army pays respect to the miss. Pays respect to the little master. 1. Mayin's heart violently beats uncontrollably. She feels as if a clap of thunder has exploded in her head, leaving only a buzzing vibration. Her head is in a mess, and everything in front of her has become blurry. She almost wonders if everything that is happening at this moment is a dream or reality. Why are you here? After a long time, she finds her voice. Where are the other people of the Nether Flame Army? Almost as soon as she finishes her sentence, densely packed people begin to pour out from the spaceships that are parked around them. Every one of them is wearing the same clothes. The red lines on the black background are like a raging fire burning in the night, illuminating the light that leads to hope for people. There are clearly thousands of people coming down from the spaceships, but their ranks are lined up neatly, without a trace of disorder, and have a tacit understanding. But the expression on everyone's face is one of uncontrollable excitement, and tears. A few of them have already burst into tears the moment they jump off the spaceship and see Mayan. The thousands of people quickly divide into 4 lines. The 4 people at the front, 2 men and 2 women, have familiar faces just like in the past. Shui Yin also returns to her position with tears in her eyes. Soon after, thousands of people kneel down towards Mayan. The ink camp of the Nether Flame Army pays respect to the miss, pays respect to the little master. The Great Void camp of the Nether Flame Army pays respect to the miss, pays respect to the little master. The Tianji camp of the Nether Flame Army pays respect to the miss, pays respect to the little master. The commander of the Nether Flame Army pays respect to the miss, pays respect to the little master. 2,000 people shout in unison, shaking the heavens and the earth, resounding through the sky. Mayan stares at this scene in a daze, her eyes a little moist and warm. For a moment, she can't say a word. Suddenly, her hand is gently pinched and Xiao Bao's choked voice, which he tries his best to suppress, comes to her ears. Nyangqin, they're back. Yes, her Nether Flame Army, her close relatives and friends have returned to her and Xiao Bao's side. Mayan tries her best to suppress the excitement in her heart and hoarsely says, "All of you, get up! Walala!" With just one command, the 2,000 people seemed to have a telepathic connection. They all stood up in unison and stood perfectly straight on the spot. However, their gazes were fixated on Mu Yin and Xiao Bao. Her eyes reddened, and tears flowed down uncontrollably. 1 year. It had been more than a year. They crazily cultivate in the Yinwu continent, improving themselves day and night, just so that they can catch up with the miss and reunite with the miss and the little master in the Xiojin continent. Now, they had finally seen the young miss that they had been longing for. Their Nether Flame Army finally had a backbone again. Yin Haoyin takes a deep breath, taking a step forward. He gestures with his hand and lips. The commander of the ink camp, Yin Haoyin, greets Mississippi. 697 people from the ink camp have ascended. 697 people are present, willing to obey Mrs. Command. Bai Yichin stepped forward. Great Void Battalion Commander Bai Yichin greets Mississippi. 523 people from the Grand Void Camp have ascended. Now 523 people are here. We are willing to follow Mrs. orders. Ru Yan's face was covered in tears, but she still suppressed her sobs and said loudly, Heaven's Secret Battalion Commander Ru Yan greets Mississippi. 395 men from the Tianji Battalion have ascended, and there are 395 men in total. They are willing to obey Mrs. orders. Feng Haidang, Everlasting Battalion Commander Feng Haidang greets Mississippi. 357 men from the Everlasting Battalion have ascended, and there are 357 men in total. They are willing to obey Mrs. orders. Chapter 1748. The Nether Flame Army pays respect to the miss, pays respect to the little master. 2. After the 4 people finish reporting, thousands of people suddenly shout in unison again. 1,972 people of the Nether Flame Army have all arrived. From now on, we are willing to obey the Mrs. Command. Vow to follow and never betray. Vow to follow and never betray. Vow to follow and never betray. One after another, the heaven-shaking shouts are not slogans, nor declarations, but their unwavering vow. After going through trials and tribulations, they finally found their master and their young miss. From this moment on, the Nether Flame Army has been revived. From now on, the invincible, fearless, and unstoppable legendary military soul will return to the world. 6 sister, who are these people? Luo Yu finally comes back to his senses with great difficulty and stutters as he asks. He was really stunned by the shocking scene just now, although he has always known that his 6th sister is powerful. But seeing 2,000 people uniformly kneel before her, that kind of shock can't be described with words. Mayan says hoarsely, "They are people I know in Yinwu continent. Like you, they're my most important family in this world." Luo Yu and the others initially see Mayan crying as she looks at these people, and their hearts are still a little sour. They always feel that their little junior sister, 6th sister, is going to be taken away. But hearing Mayan say this now, they are immediately overjoyed, no longer jealous. And the Nether Flame Army, who were originally solemnly lined up, after hearing Mayan's words, their tears flow even more fiercely. Many people can't help but throw themselves at them. "Boo-hoo-hoo, Master, little senior. I miss you so much." For example, Mayan's cheap disciple Liu Beiyu. Xiao Bao looks at Liu Beiyu, who is crying with snot and tears in disgust. But when he pounces over, he still lets him hug him. "Boo-hoo-hoo, little senior. I really thought I wouldn't be able to see you. You don't know how hard it has been for more than a year." Mayan sees a tall and handsome youth walking towards her from the crowd, and the Nether Flame Army makes way for him. Xin Jinglin's eyes are red, looking at the increasingly beautiful girl, and he can't help but choke with sobs. "Yin Yin, you and Xiao Bao have grown up." "Brother." Mayan's nose is sour. She wants to hold back her tears, but she still can't stop them from falling. "Big brother, I miss you so much." Those relatives who were left behind in the Yinwu continent, Mayan had also longed to reunite with them, but she always felt that it was so far away. Back then, she had left behind 1,000 spirit molding pills and thousands of spirit-raising pills for the Nether Flame Army. Originally, he thought that even if they could ascend, it would be impossible for there to be so many of them. Originally, he thought that it would be at least a few years before they could meet again. 5 Junior, 5, and Nether Flame Army. The Nether Fire Army ran to catch up with Mu Yin and Xiao Bao. The moment that imposing manner that could shake the mountains and rivers disappeared, everyone in the Tai Plaza, who was dumbfounded from shock, finally recovered. Luo Tian. Luo Tian Luo when he thought that it would be easy to take away Mu Yin and the people of Yawang Branch. However, he didn't expect that there would be a mishap along the way. Lung Umo glanced at Luo Tian and could not help but burst out laughing. What did that Tian or Luo guy say? "Junior, if you master Tian Junior, Tian 2 UII 2. Chapter 1749. Ha! You see, isn't my junior sister making people appear for you now? Luo Tian glares at Mayan, gnashing his teeth. So what if I make these people appear? Do these people have the qualifications to contend against my Tian army? Ha! Don't make me laugh to death. Look at the configuration of your Nether Flame Army. More than half of them are at the first or second stage of abstinence, and the remaining 30% haven't even reached abstinence, just a group of body-forging wastes." As he speaks, Luo Tian suddenly lets out a carefree and contemptuous laugh. "Mayan, do you really think that you can win with more people? To deal with this group of wastes, my Tian family doesn't even need a core formation cultivator to crush you all." Hearing that, the Nether Flame Army reveals an angry expression. But no one refutes or speaks. Instead, they uniformly look at Mayan. Mayan wipes away the tears on her face, the corners of her mouth slowly hooking up into a lazy arc. Netherflame Army, heed my order. Yes. Since someone wants to experience the strength of our Netherflame Army, then let's fulfill their wish. As soon as her voice falls, her figure is already floated up, landing on the top of the hall closest to Tai Square. The Tian Mo chain appears in her hands. Slender, jade-like fingers are placed on the strings, slowly plucking. The sound of the chain is melodious. Graceful feather activates. In a split second, a familiar feeling surges in the hearts of every Netherflame Army member. It's like an inexhaustible power has been injected into their bodies. Their spiritual power, their divine sense, their movements, their strength, all seem to have been raised by a level. The Tianji unit and the Chongqing unit quickly retreat. The Ink camp and the Taishu unit quickly move forward, standing in front of the Tian army. In the Netherflame Army, not everyone is a combatant. The Ink camp and the Taishu unit are responsible for fighting. The Tianji unit is responsible for intelligence. The Chongqing unit is responsible for logistics. Luo Tian sees that there are only 1,000 or so opponents left, and he convulses with laughter. Haha, you are a group of wastes. Your strength is lower than my Tian army, and your number is half of my Tian army. Do you still expect to win? The Tian family practitioners behind him also burst into laughter. The outcome of this battle was obvious. There was no suspense at all. Luo Tian's malicious gaze sweeps over Mayan above the hall, loudly mocking. Jun Mayan, I heard that you were the strongest support in the history of Azure Blue Realm. However, even if it's you, it's impossible for a bunch of trash to contend against my Tian clan. We'll only know who's the trash after we fight. Mayan plucked the strings faster and faster, and the sound became more and more urgent. But her posture and expression became more and more languid and indifferent. Then, he heard her call softly, Jun Machin. Mu Yin rarely calls out Xiao Bao's full name. When she said the name, the people of the Xiaoyao sect couldn't react for a moment. Not to mention the Starry School students, they did not even know who Mu Yin was calling. However, no matter if it was Little Bao or the members of the Netherflame Army, they immediately straightened their backs when they heard this name while their gazes burned, and all of them seemed like ferocious beasts that were accumulating strength and waiting to attack. The Bixia sword in Xiao Bao's body was unsheathed, and with a leap, he had already arrived in front of the Netherflame Army. Seeing this, Luo Tian was stunned for a moment. Then he laughed so hard that he covered his stomach. Haha, Jun Mayan, you can't be thinking that adding one more child can change anything, right? It's still a small, explosive joke. Isn't it awesome? The appearance of the Netherflame Army makes me feel like I'm on fire, but this is just a small climax. It will definitely slowly and thoroughly slap that toad's face. Monthly votes. Only monthly votes can cure Z's body of staying up late to write every day. Love you guys, moi. Chapter 1750. I'm dying of laughter. Any random person from my Tian family army can crush a brat like him to death. Many of the Starry School's teachers and students also looked worried. Someone even shouted at Mu Yin, asking her to call Xiaobao back from the battlefield. They were willing to fight with the Netherfire Army. However, the response she got was Mayan's melodious smile, but her voice was resolute and without a reply. The Netherfire Army needs a commander to become a real army and defeat powerful enemies. And Jun Machin is the only commander of the Netherfire Army. So, of course he can't come back, let alone retreat. Luo Tian laughed even louder. A 5-year-old kid as the commander. What kind of rubbish army is this? Is it the baby army? The cultivators in the Tian army looked at each other and laughed. Their faces were relaxed, without any nervousness or fear of the upcoming battle. The people from the Starry School wanted to persuade her, but found that Mu Yan's expression was so determined. The expressions of the Netherfire Army were even more determined than Mu Yan. Their gazes landed on the small figure in front of them. There was not the slightest bit of doubt, not the slightest bit of contempt, only worship and trust. In the entire Tai Square, perhaps only the people from the Xiaoyao school knew why. That their nephew was a 5-year-old kid? That their nephew was not qualified to lead the army? Just wait for the slap in the face. After laughing, Luo Tian suddenly revealed a sinister expression and waved his hand in the air. Everyone attack! Crush these so-called Netherfire army soldiers one by one. I remember Patriarch said that our plans in the Azure Cloud world were obstructed by this group of fellows, and that's why we failed at the last step. Today is the time for you to make a contribution. As long as you kill all these guys, the leader will definitely reward you handsomely when we return. Kill them all! Kill them all! Kill them all! The Tian army shouted in unison, then took out their weapons and attacked the people from the Taishu camp and the Ink camp. Luo Tian leisurely sits on a chair brought over by his subordinate. He raises his head to look at the ceiling of the hall. Junmayan, if you still have a little brain, then take your son back as soon as possible. Then kneel down and kowtow to beg for mercy. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless if I hurt your precious son. Before he could finish, a scream came from the crowd. There was also the sound of flesh being cut open, and this cry was clearly coming from his side. Luo Tian looked over in shock, only to see a sword flash past through Lord Tian's body. In the blink of an eye, it had sliced through the throats of 5 Inidia cultivators, causing blood to splatter everywhere. The battle cries in the center of Tai Square shook the sky. But the surrounding people were all speechless, completely dumbfounded. Oh my God! Was this a fucking 5-year-old? Was this the combat power a 5-year-old should have? Although he already knew that Junmayan's son wasn't simple during the 3-courtyard tournament. Otherwise, it would be impossible for the princes of the Lan clan empire and the successors of the 5 great clans to hold him in such high esteem. However, in the hearts of the crowd, no matter how powerful he was still just a 5-year-old child. How powerful could he be? However, at this very moment, everything that was happening before their eyes had completely overturned their imaginations. Is this a fucking baby? Chapter 1751. This is clearly a super expert with the strength of a gold core stage Ah. Luo Tian suddenly sprang up from his chair, shouting in alarm and anger. Split half of the people to deal with that little doll. Kill him for me, right? Even if that little doll is more powerful, facing the siege of nearly 1,000 fasting stage cultivators, could he still escape unscathed? As for that Netherflame army, they're just a motley crew, a bunch of trash. The remaining Tian family army is more than enough to deal with them. Luo Tian's calculations are very good, but he doesn't know that at this time, the Tian family army on the battlefield is suffering unspeakably. Because they don't know when it started, they only feel that their hands and feet are getting heavier and heavier, and the circulation of spiritual power is getting more and more sluggish. But their opponents are the complete opposite of them. Although these people's cultivation isn't high, everyone's cooperation is extremely tacit. In this ever-changing, cruel, and bloody battlefield, they can actually leave their backs to their companions without the slightest hesitation. This is absolutely impossible for the selfish and greedy Tian family army, who are only good at burning, killing, and plundering to seize immediate benefits. Moreover, it is reasonable to say that these Netherflame army in front of them are only at the 1st or 2nd stage of fasting stage, and there is even a small portion of them who are trash at the body forging stage. With such a low cultivation, the spiritual chi in their bodies should be extremely scarce. In such an intense battle, they simply can't hold on for long. But what's strange is that after fighting for so long, the strength of these Netherflame army hasn't decreased in the slightest. Their spiritual power seemed to be endless and would never dry up. On the contrary, their bodies are getting heavier and heavier, and the circulation of spiritual power is getting more and more difficult. Their physical strength and Dantian spiritual chi are madly consumed, and right now, they only feel that the battle is getting more and more difficult. Every Tian family army's face is filled with astonishment. At first, they didn't understand how a group of trash whose cultivation should be so much lower than theirs could actually gradually make them unable to fight back. Until they suddenly look up and see Junmayan on the distant roof. It's the sound of a zither. It's the musical assistants. Luo Tian unwaveringly raises his head to stare at the girl on the roof of the hall, simply unable to believe what's happening in front of him. The originally melodious zither sound has now turned into the sound of a powerful army, swallowing mountains and rivers. And when these zither sounds fall into Luo Tian's ears, it's like a death knell, making his heart sink little by little and making the blood of his entire body turn ice cold. This was Azure Blue Realm's #1 support. How could the support of a musician be so powerful? On the other side, Xiaobao, who was being besieged by nearly 1,000 people, was completely at ease. No matter how high his cultivation was, it was impossible for him to deal with so many high-level and needy cultivators. But the problem was that he could use sword kinesis flight. Seeing that the situation was not good, the Bixia sword carried its little master and soared into the sky, hovering high in the air. The Tian family army below was instantly dumbfounded. They couldn't fly on swords, and they didn't have any flying magic treasures. A normal person wouldn't be able to jump so high and let the attack land on Xiaobao. However, when they turned around and wanted to give up on Xiaobao to deal with the Netherflame army, the Bixia sword once again whistled as it charged down. There was a flash of saber light and sword shadows. 5 or 6 screams rang out, and blood splattered everywhere. After going back and forth like this a few times, the Tian family army was all trembling in fear. Facing this one and only opponent, they actually cowered together, not daring to move at all. Chapter 1752. A great battle came to an end in an unimaginable manner. Luo Tian's knees went soft, and he stumbled towards a chair behind him. But because he was too flustered, he fell on his butt. More than 2,000 Tian family army soldiers were lying in a pool of blood. Some were unconscious, and some were tied up. In just a short 2 hours, they had all lost their ability to fight. The Starry School students were all dumbfounded at the scene. When Mu Yin floated down from the palace and landed on the ground, she held Xiaobao's hand. Thousands of Netherfire army soldiers lined up on both sides, as if they were welcoming their queen and highness, watching her walk over slowly. Everyone's eyes were filled with envy, respect, worship, and madness. It was like a raging fire was about to burn. This was their Azure Blue World's #1 assistant, Jun Mu Yin. This was their Starry School's greatest pride, a monstrous king. To be able to be in the same generation and become classmates with such a person, they might be jealous and envious, but it was more like a legend that they could boast about for the rest of their lives. Seeing Jun Mu Yin walking towards him, fear and panic flashed across Luo Tian's face. He crawled up from the ground on all fours and shouted fiercely, Jun Mu Yin, what do you want to do? Do you think that your Netherfire army can sleep peacefully after defeating my Tian family army? Don't forget, our Tian family still has hundreds of golden essence cultivators. Yes. He still had hundreds of golden essence cultivators by his side. The power of each golden essence cultivator was not something a group of fasting cultivators could compare to. Even though there were many golden essence cultivators in Starry School, many of them specialized in alchemy and talismans. What about the Tian family's golden essence cultivators? They were all elites that the family leader had recruited from all over the world. Every one of them was a main attacker. There were even quite a few who were once well-known figures before they were recruited by the Tian clan through threats and promises. He, Luo Tian, had so many golden essence cultivators in his hands. Why would he be afraid of Jun Mu Yin? Thinking of this, Luo Tian straightened his back. He sneered at Mu Yin. Jun Mu Yin, your Netherfire army is so arrogant. Do you have the guts to fight the Tian family's golden essence leaders? Mu Yin unhurriedly says, I wouldn't dare. I really don't want to fight with these golden core leaders of your Tian family. Huh? You finally know fear? Luo Tian looked up to the sky and laughed out loud. His forehead was still dripping with cold sweat from fear. At this moment, his entire horse face was twisted sinisterly. But it's too late to be afraid now. All of you, attack. Kill all the Netherfire army members. Whoever kills the most will be heavily rewarded when we return. However, when Luo Tian gave the order, he found that most of the golden core cultivators behind him did not move. Are you deaf? Did you not hear my order? Or have you all forgotten what you have in the hands of the patriarch? Luo Tian roared furiously at the people behind him. However, he discovered that most of the Golden Corps commanders were staring at a spaceship that had landed in the corner of Tai Square. The first to step down from the ship was Zheng Little Fatty's brother, Zheng Jiaming. Behind him, there were many servants of the Zheng clan supporting the elderly, the frail, and the young as they walked down the stairs. Seeing these people, the Tian family's Golden Essence commanders all had tears in their eyes. They completely forgot where they were and directly pounced forward. Chapter 1753. Mother, why? Why are you here? Sob, sob, sob. Husband, we finally get to see you again? Linner, why are you here? Tian Haiba, why is he willing to let you out? The reunited family members hugged each other and cried, chattering nonstop. Seeing this scene, Luo Tian was so scared that his soul almost flew out of his body. Aren't these the family members of the Golden Essence Realm Commanders? Why are they here? Most of the talents that Tian Haiba recruited were not willing to submit to the Tian clan, but their families were forcefully destroyed and their sex declined. In order to keep these talents by his side, Tian Haiba obviously had to take advantage of their weaknesses and coerce them. And the family members of these Golden Essence Realm Commanders were Tian Haiba's biggest bargaining chip. Most of them had been given a slow poison that had to be taken regularly. They were also locked in a hidden place by the Tian clan, and were only allowed to meet the Golden Essence Realm Commanders 2 or 3 times a year. Once the Golden Essence Realm Commanders had the intention to rebel, their families would definitely be the first to suffer. Did these Golden Essence Realm Commanders not hate the Tian clan and Tian Haiba? They definitely hated them, so much that they wanted to skin them alive and split their stocks. However, the most important people were in the hands of the other party, so they could not resist at all. But now, the family members of these Golden Essence Realm Commanders had actually appeared in the Starry School. Why was this happening? Facing the anxious and confused gazes of the Golden Essence Realm Commanders, Zheng Jiaming smiled and said, "We have to thank Miss June for this. She was the one who asked us to save your family members." "June mine, you bitch!" Luo Tian suddenly roared. "So what if you brought these people out? Without the antidote of the Tian clan, these old and weak people will sooner or later die miserably from the effects of the poison. Huh? Do you think that this will make the Golden Essence Realm Commanders of the Tian clan rebel? Dream on?" Saying that, he fiercely glared at the Gold Corps Realm Commanders. "Immediately deal with the Netherflame army and capture Junmayan. Otherwise, you can only watch helplessly as your loved ones die from poison." The Golden Corps Commander's eyes were filled with tears and resentment. However, looking at his own family, he could only abandon the conscience and hatred at the bottom of his heart and pull out his blade towards Mu Yin and the others. Zheng Little Fatty sneered, "If I were you, I would first check if the poison in my family has been cured." "That's right, a bunch of idiots. Since our boss asked us to bring him out, how could he not have thought of this? It's just a little poison. It's nothing to our boss. Our boss had already removed it long ago." The Golden Corps commanders were taken aback for a moment before they abruptly turned to look at their relatives. One of them, a burly man who looked to be in his early 30s but had already reached the peak of Gold Corps stage, grabbed his old mother's hand and rolled up her sleeves. On her mother's skinny arm, the red line that had been jumping up and down had disappeared. The poison was really cured. The tall and sturdy man burst into tears. Mother, are you all right?" The old woman's tears also streamed down her face. "Changjin, I'm fine. It's that little kid who's as pretty as a celestial child that cured me." Chapter 1754. As soon as she swallowed that tiny elixir, she felt that her throat was being strangled, and the feeling of dying at any time disappeared. Sure enough, the red thread that was slowly extending on her arm also slowly retreated. That inhumanly beautiful little baby had a cold face, didn't like to talk, didn't like to smile. However, the action of feeding her the medicine was very gentle. At first glance, one could tell that he was a very kind and good child. Later, the little boy stuck a few talismans on her body. As the talismans burned, she felt that her originally withered body seemed to have been injected with vitality, and a bit of vitality slowly emerged. Chongjin. The old woman grabbed her son Li Chongin's hand and said over and over again, Chongjin, we can't help the evildoer anymore. It's an utterly heartless thing. Otherwise, after mother dies, I won't have the face to meet the Leaf family's ancestors. Li Chongjin choked with sobs as he nodded. Mother, I know, I will never help that beast Tian Haiba to do anything again. That little baby and Miss June's great kindness to us, we must repay it. The old woman continued to prattle on. In the future, you must follow them to do good deeds and redeem the sins of the first half of your life. Okay. I'll listen to Mother. This kind of dialogue was carried out by almost every Jindan commander who saw their loved ones. Soon after, they uniformly came before Mu Yin and Xiao Bao, and one by one, they knelt down. Miss June's great kindness, we have no way to repay it. We only hope that we can join the Nether Flame Army for the next half of our lives and serve Miss June to repay your kindness. We also ask Miss June to give us a chance and let us repay the sins we owe. In the process of these Jindan commanders' loyalty to the Tian family, because of Tian Haiba's threat, they had also committed many sins. Each of their hands was stained with the blood of innocent people. Such a sin was not something that could be made up for by saying that it was out of his control. Mu Yin touched Xiao Bao's head and said warmly, Nether Flame Army's commander, what do you say? Xiao Bao's little face was stiff, his icy blue eyes swept over the 100 Jindan cultivators present, and he said coldly in his crisp, childish voice, If you want to join the Nether Flame Army, you can, but you can only start from the lowest rank of soldiers. From now on, no matter what you do, you must listen to the orders of the 4th Battalion leader. Anyone who thinks too highly of themselves and refuses to be disciplined will be punished. From now on, whoever dares to help the evil do evil and kill the innocent will be executed. Those who dare to betray the Nether Flame Army at the sight of profit will be executed. He was clearly just a 5-year-old child, but when the word punish came out of his mouth, it was like a thunderclap that struck the heads of every Golden Core cultivator. It was deafening. They trembled as they met Xiao Bao's icy blue eyes, but they felt that the one looking at them was not a little child, but a high and mighty god. He could see through them from the inside out, and he could control their life and death at any time. This was the commander-in-chief of the Nether Flame Army. At this moment, they had completely forgotten that the person in front of them was a child. They only wanted to prostrate themselves before him. Of course, there were also those who had gradually abandoned their conscience in the slaughter and plunder. They had originally begged to join the Nether Flame Army just to get some benefits. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.